Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR511. It's AEW Revolution 2024. I'm not alone, over. Pleasure to be joined by entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show, it is the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, hello. Happy Saturday, everyone. Happy AEW Revolution. We're finally here. How are we doing, James?
Oh, we are
Feeling
good.
lucky?
Well, like I
Feeling
said, it's
lucky?
AEW, and I don't want to rub this in, but I was the winner last year, so I'm glad after the shenanigans at the start of the year. I mean, you winning Wrestle Kingdom, I will never get over, So.
Yeah, well, I mean, you win some, you lose some. So I'm definitely going into this one with anticipation to see who comes out on top for AEW. Let's go.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod, it is Monty. How's it going, man? As he struts in here with his stuff like a cowboy walking in from the bar. Just no shits given. How's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Getting my outlaw on, I guess. Feeling pretty good on a hot streak coming into this one. But yeah, man, this is cool. AEW, like you said, you mentioned you won last year. I've never fared too well, so I've been trying my best to give AEW more effort. And so far, I've been really happy with what they've been putting out as far as product goes. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Last but by no means least. Okay. I see what's happening here. You're face to face with greatness, and it's strange. You don't even know how you feel. It's adorable. Well, it's nice to see that humans never changed. Open your eyes. Let's begin. Yes, it's really him. It is Monty. Breathe it in. I know it's a lot. The hair, the bod, when you're staring at a demigod. But what can I say except you're welcome for the tides, the sun, the sky. Hey, it's okay. You're welcome. He's just an ordinary demiguy. Well, anyway, let me say you're welcome. Because Gina, you are welcome on the show here. And I know it's our own demigod in the corner. But you've been on fire as well with predictions. How's it going?
Hello. Yes, it's been going great. We're going to see if I continue my going well streak or if somebody has cursed me and I've gone down the shitty route. So we'll see.
Well, there's the positive Gina that everybody's accustomed to here on the show. You don't really start till June anyway, so you just kind of lay
was
back
better
and
than
you know what I mean?
Dwayne,
Take
by the
it
way.
easy.
Yeah, I'm like the silent but violent type, so I'll just be quiet and lose in the background at the beginning months, and then come spring, summer, watch me rise to the top again.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I can hear Monty in the background. A lot of people, Monty, have emailed saying that you do remind them of The Rock. So I had to do that song,
Really? I'm not gonna ask
welcome.
him how I remind him.
No, you're
yeah,
welcome.
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Anyway, we have Sting's last match. But let's get up to date with AEW. Since World's End. I mean, how long ago does that seem, everybody? But we're going to do it. Don't worry.
I mean, Jesus,
that
seems so far away.
It's quick notes. Trust me. We'll get this done. It's AEW, So January 6th, Collision. We see Eddie retain his titles for the first time, beating Trent. FTR beating House of Black. January 10th, the Dynamite anniversary show. Adam Page beat Claudio. We see Joe Swerve and Page facing off. Hook confronted the champion as well. Starks lost again. Tony's solution for Jericho Booze is to keep his music playing. Darby tried to kill himself again. Flair fought Hobbs and Sting forgot where he was. All in a Dynamite main event with the Bucks confronting Darby and Sting afterwards. Collision January 13th. House of Black beat FTR and Garcia in a banger. The 9th Battle of the Belts took place straight after, and no one cared. Dynamite January 17th. We see Christian beating Dustin to retain the TNT title. And 1 year since Jay Briscoe died. Monty, I'll start with you with this. Because, we talk a lot about a lot changing in wrestling, but 1 year since Jay Briscoe. And again, it's just still a shock to the system to think how time flies in a weird way,
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things that you don't realize it until you get one of those type of landmarks or whatever, if you want to call it that, situations where they tell you, oh, it's been this long since this happened. So yeah, it's insane how fast time flies, especially even if you don't watch all of wrestling. If you just keep up with AEW, if you go back in a year's time, it feels like the entire world was completely different. And then, but I will always tip my cap to the handling of the way Tony Khan has done. The way he's presented everything since that moment, and the respect to the families and what he's done for Mark since then. It's been awesome. And all you can do is just be like, man, AEW is really classy for the way they've treated that whole entire situation. But yeah, man, it's amazing just how fast the days fly by.
Yeah, exactly. It'll never be forgotten. Bullet Club Gold won the Ring of Honor 6-man title. Tony Storm wants to punch Gianna Pratso in the box. Private Party returned to action after 13 months, beating Top Flight. And Smojo retained his world title versus Hook. Hook Signal was badass. I mean, Gina, Tony got a lot of shit for booking Hook versus Joe, and actually got Jinder a title shot because of it. But I think Hook showed that he belonged. Maybe not yet, but definitely at some point,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't want to see the same matches over and over again. And I don't see why people complain, oh, why is this person getting a shot? Why is that person getting a shot? Things like that. Like, I'd understand if it was someone like Matt Sydal, who is, Mr. Jobber of the Year. And I actually really like Matt Sydal. He's a great wrestler, but he's, a jobber who loses out to people a lot. So if it was against someone like that, then fine. But Hook's obviously got a clean record. He's been winning a lot of his matches. I'm not saying he's on, the level to be winning the AEW title, but that match was a big deal for him. And B, it was just, elevating and showing people he can kind of be in the same ring as a main eventer. And showing you like the future of what's going to be coming with Hook. So I don't see why people were complaining. I thought it was a good match, and I thought he did well, So
yeah,
that's, everyone has their own opinions. I respect that, but I don't see why you have to online troll the actual wrestlers themselves who are putting on this entertainment for you. It's really disappointing as a wrestling fan seeing that from other wrestling fans.
Yeah, without that. And the problem is, opinions are like arseholes, aren't they? Everybody's got one, but, sometimes it's just, you don't have to listen to all of them. Anyway, Dynamite, January 24th, we see Joe starting the show. Hook was still pissed. Then Adam Page beat Penta. Storm and Perazzo had a face-off. The black and white split with colour actually looked quite good. Swerve beat Jeff Hardy. That would have been good maybe a couple of years ago. Interestingly enough, though, Jeff Hardy also swerves when he drives. In the main event, Adam Copeland beat Minoru Suzuki. Again, Jaxie, if we had a bingo card from when we first started, Adam Copeland versus Suzuki wouldn't be on it in a million miles, but yet we're getting that match on Dynamite. This was still crazy to see.
Yeah, it was just randomly announced as well. But this is the sort of thing I do love that comes from wrestling. It's just like these impromptu matches that turn up that you never knew you needed. So I mean, straight away it piqued my attention, and you just knew it was going to be a banger of a match.
Without a doubt. On Collision, Danielson beat Yuji Nagata. Serena Deeb returned to action, and FTR and Danny Garcia beat House of Black in the Escape the Cage main event. Now, Monty, again, I don't know how AEW got an idea to have an Escape the Cage match to kind of blow off a feud. But what did you think of this? Because obviously next week we'll be watching another kind of cage match between two teams that hate each other as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting how that came about. If I remember it right, wasn't this like Royal Rumble? Wasn't this the same day? Is this the one, or am I confusing the two? Because I could have sworn one of the cage matches was Royal Rumble. Either way it go. This was not bad. I don't mind it, but I'm with you. It's one of those things where it's like, I think, and this is what happens in AEW. You kind of got to change your viewpoint a lot of times when it comes to just focusing on what the act. Like a lot of times people get wrapped up into why certain things are happening, but I've given up trying to wonder why all the time when it comes to AEW, and sometimes you just got to sit back and just let the workers do what they do. And I think in this particular case, they told a really good story, had fun. And this was actually right up the road from me. This was in Louisiana. So it was pretty cool to just see them use a place that I used to live like 15 minutes. I used to live 15 minutes from the Brooks Arena where they were at. So it's kind of funny to see that arena used for this for a big deal match like that in the middle of Bossier in Louisiana. Like, come on, man. Like, it's funny. AEW makes some of the smallest places feel like a bigger deal than they ever were or they ever seemed like to me. Because Tony Schiavone said, "This is a wrestling town." I'm like, well, haven't been there in about 30 years, but okay, Tony. But yeah, no, this was great. It was a great job by everybody involved. It was cool to watch. But you're 100% right, because not too long after that, I think we got another blow-off match literally right after this that was very similar. So that, I don't know, maybe he was just running out of ideas, or maybe the wrestlers had some input in just doing a bunch of these cage matches. And then it also was not too far before we got a big cage match in Japan. So, just big faction cage matches between the War Dogs and the United Empire in Japan. So
they say
they love their
Americans
cage
don't
matches.
watch New Japan. Yeah, all right, yeah.
Right.
There's someone somewhere. Anyway, on Dynamite, Mox beat Jeff Hardy, then got attacked by Max Mini and his mates. Tony Storm watched on as Dana Pratso beat Taya Valkyra. In the main event, Page picked RVD to fight Swerve. And did you know AEW save a ton of money not using the smoke machine when RVD is on the card? Dynamite February 7th, Swerve and Page ended in a draw. Tony Storm beat Red Velvet. BCC defeated CMLL. Jericho lost to Takeshita with his own submission, which I would care more about, but I don't. Tony Khan revealed March 13th will be a show called AEW Big Business in Boston. And then Big Bill and Ricky Starks.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder what's that about. Anyway, Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus Sting and Darby Allin for the tag titles. I mean, Sting dived like New Jack and pinned Ricky Starks, become new tag champions as he and Allin celebrated. Young Bucks attacked him with baseball bats and beat the shit out of the Suns as well. But I didn't notice the Suns because they weren't wearing face paint. But Gina, I'll ask you this. Ricky Starks. I mean, man, wasn't he going somewhere at some point? But there is a point to the story. I mean, Sting and Allin as tag team champions does make sense. But again, not the best end for Ricky.
No, I mean, it is really sad to see where he is at the moment. And not the downfall, because I wouldn't exactly say that like he's fully fallen or anything, but he was on such a high. He had so many people in his corner, so many people excited to see him. We rarely even hear from him. We rarely even get any promos from him, and that's one of the things that was great about Ricky is like him on the mic. He's so good at just whipping out a promo, but it's quite sad to see. Like, I understand that at certain points, people need to take a step back to let others get a bit more of the limelight and the TV, spots, but it does feel a bit sad because it was like he was on this high and was entering the main picture scene, and then now he's kind of back in the mid cards, just floating around. So again, this is kind of showing you AEW's struggle to keep various tag storylines going at once because they've got too many.
And again, I don't want to spoil what's going to happen, but there was on Dynamite this week like a vignette for the tag titles history. And I didn't see Ricky Starks and Big Bill in that one. And that was very recent.
That was sad well. Yeah, I mean, that was sad. It's especially regardless as to whether they're the most recent, title holders to lose them. That shouldn't matter. You should still include them in that signet.
Yeah. So. Anyway, on to Collision with Eddie challenging Bryan for Full Gear and Orange Cassidy defending versus Ishii in a great match. On Dynamite February 14th, Don Callis announced Takeshita will face Will Ospreay at Revolution. We've got Danny Garcia versus the Cope. Ended up finishing in a no contest. Cage and Danny Magic having a standoff with some chairs until Killswitch hit him from behind. Copeland saved Garcia from having his head smashed in, but Wayne hit him with a low blow, and Adam got hit with a concerto. We had a long segment of Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, and Hangman Adam Page. This was followed by Tony Storm's newest film. Young Bucks beat Top Flight. And then we had, I think, a Darby Allin promo as well. Or on top of that, as we were talking, of course, we had Cody Chance involved in this. Which is just really... I mean, Jackson, this should never happen. We've talked about this before with, like, Mummy Chance and people dressing up as LA Knight AEW shows. But another company's fans shouldn't be chanting for someone that's in a different company, should they?
I just think it shows just a sign of disrespect that we as fans don't really need to do. It not only antagonizes like different promotions to just continue like feuding with one another rather than just like have a great sort of community that supports all promotions, but it just kind of like builds a lot of pressure for those that are actually in the ring. It's not nice when you're cheering for someone that's not even in that promotion, and it's not even those that are like putting their bodies on the line in the ring. I just think it's a sign of disrespect. It's not something that I personally would do if I was at an event. There's a difference between like heckling the wrestlers, who are in heel persona and stuff, and just being assholes. And that's just a dick move.
Well, it's almost like as well when I remember the AEW fans like chanting Seth Rollins' song. And it's like, if you want to chant a song, go to an event. It's like you've come to an AEW show as like a runner-up.
Yeah, I mean, there's why are you singing that song in that promotion? Go to the one that you actually want to go and sing that song to. Then it makes no sense. Make it make sense.
I give them an out in this case because he did reference Cody. He kind of begged for it because he said it was an EVP there, and his name is not Kenny Omega, who actually took a chance on me. So there's only one EVP left. So in this case, I don't think they were trying to be disrespectful, but I get what you guys are saying.
Just heckling the situation. I get what you mean.
Don't mention him either. Like again, it seems a lot at the moment in time where a lot of people don't know what the other talent are saying or doing. But I'm sure we'll get onto that at some point. Orange Cassidy beat Matt Taven in a Texas Death Match on Rampage. Sammy tried to kill Jeff Hardy. Now, Monty, we've heard a lot of stuff about Sammy Guevara recently. Basically, what happened, he kind of went for a 450 off the top. Knee landed on Jeff's head. They did continue and then just eventually went to the finish. But a lot is going on. Can you just elaborate on the situation if you can?
Yeah, so Sammy has been suspended, at least reportedly, according to Fightful and other outlets, because of this situation. He wasn't taken off TV immediately because I think he did a couple other things, like something with Will Hobbs and all that. But ever since the Will Hobbs situation, the match I think he had with him, they pretty much had him on TV. That's another problem I have with this. Like, you announce people, find out he's suspended weeks after the fact, so people are just confused. Like, what the hell did Sammy do this time? So, but they say it was because he was asked in the match to go to the finish, which, by the way, isn't clear. But from what I understand is Sammy, instead of just finishing the match after Jeff was people assumed Jeff had which he probably did have a concussion, but I'm not sure. But when Jeff, after the spot, the shooting star press, he was supposed to just go into the finish, or maybe a roll up. At least that's what people are saying AEW want him to do. But Sammy still hit his GTH finish, which is basically a knee to the face. I get that, like that's dumb. Like, why would you do that when somebody have a concussion? But I do also can be on Sammy's side of saying either one, if he's concussed to that point, just stop the match. You don't necessarily need a finish. We would understand if it's only on Rampage, it's a tape show. You can stop this match and be like, all right, Jeff.
What they did with Mello and Austin Theory, like.
Yeah, or like Vinci.
You know?
Vinci got hurt in that tag match on Raw.
Yeah,
exactly. Same thing. You can just stop the match and people will understand.
I feel like there is still some responsibility that should have lied on the ref and actually just calling it there and then and actually be like, no.
It's on the ref. It's on the doctor. Yeah. Like, just stop the match. Don't leave it in the wrestler's hands. Don't get me wrong. I think that it was. I agree with what you're saying, Monty. It was dumb that Sammy decided to do that to finish things off. He should have rolled up, pinned it if that's what he was told. And I think that's
but
why
at the same time, I think there should be even responsibility on the ref. And I think that if Sammy's getting suspended, so should that referee. Because that referee should have done what we have seen in the past. Even, like you said, this is taped. We've seen it on live shows where Austin Theory and Carmelo Hayes, straight up, no, we're stopping the match. You know? And they didn't even know for sure that he was concussed at that point. So, you know, there's
nothing wrong with doing that.
There is nothing wrong with doing that. You're putting the wrestler safety first, you know?
He heard go to the finish, so Sammy just was like, oh, the finish? Well, the finish was supposed to be the GTH. So I can see Sammy getting confused and not just, because, like, if you want him to roll him up, then say, finish it now, roll him up. Say that, pin him now or whatever. But, like, if you're going to confuse, like, I can defend Sammy in this one particular case because I understand how that could be confusing. And then the fact that they suspended him weeks later, and then, like, that confuses everybody because he still had a match after this. It's like
it just makes no sense.
Like, you could have handled this a lot better, in my opinion, AEW. And Sammy's been suspended like 2 or 3 times now, so now he looks a certain type of way. Like, now you don't think he's safe. You know, it's all types of things. Even though these things happen, it's a shooting star press spot. How many times did Billy Kidman and others? We've seen it, Jay. How many times
Billy
Kidman
killed so many, 16 men. All right, so that's not. And again, like, it wasn't a live show, so to be able to stop it and safety precautions in place, and like I said with Jeff as well, with his history, it's just something that kind of needs to be looked at. Let's just stop the match and then just carry on. But again, this kind of blame. But I mean, I'm sure Sammy's not worried. He went backstage and Jericho's like, "Don't worry, kid, I've got you." You know, so I'm sure everything will be fine. Dynamite, February 21st. Can someone tell Tony that not every match is a dream match? The latest dream match was FTR versus Mox and Claudio, which was great, but again, ain't a fucking dream match. Ruby Soho and Angela Parker were shown leaving for a date. And Gina, we spoke about this before, this romance, not between us, but obviously Soho and Parker. And now, of course, with Saraya getting involved. I never knew her brother was carrying Cross. Did you? Like, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we'll keep our secret romance hidden, James. Shh. But still, anyway, no, honestly, I am so invested in the Ruby storyline, and I don't know why, but I was just so invested so much, and I knew that it was going to start to come to blows for Ruby and Saraya from this storyline. But her brother, he does carry. He really does, and not that I'm shocked now that I think about it that he's been signed to AEW or like has shown up like to be with Saraya, but I'm just shocked that WWE didn't cash in on this opportunity beforehand. So I can imagine Saraya is really excited to work with her brother, and being a heel, you get to have so much more fun working, I think, as a wrestler. So I think it's going to be quite fun for Saraya and her brother.
Yeah, I think it should be a good story if they go the right way of it, And again, it's quite funny that Angelo Parker and Daddy Magic, are being featured. Not successful at this moment, like getting the shit kicked out of them, but still, at least being featured.
Both in more of a, not a singles capacity, but they're being shown in the separate storylines, which is,
and they're likeable. Like they both are.
Yeah, I love them both, to be fair. And I never disliked them beforehand, even when they weren't as high up the ranks as other tag teams are. But I've always enjoyed having them on the screen. So, yeah, definitely look forward to seeing some more from both of them.
It's minimising your minutes. A lot of talent complain about not having enough time. But again, as we've seen with some even like Chelsea Green, in WWE, and again with these two guys, you only need like 2 minutes. And that impact will make it last as well. Christian brought up... Anyway, moving on. Christian brought up Daniel Garcia's dead dad. All right. Cage wants to be his father at Revolution. Daddy Magic, just mentioned him, saves Sammy from a beatdown. Tony Storm beat a jobber. Diana Prezzo defeated Madison Rain. Madison smashed her head into the mat. Fucking hell. We've seen so much wrestling, but when something just comes back to you. And Madison, with that spot, my God, that was scary, man. Tony said no one gets higher than RVD. He may be right. Anywho, in the main event, Joe, Swerve, and Cage beat Page, Hook, and RVD. Jaxie, what are your thoughts on this? Because again, I quite like the use of RVD recently, and interacting with what is like the kind of main event storyline as well.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, again, when someone as loved as RVD comes back and actually proves he still has it in the ring, it's always just a joy to kind of see given just a main spot and just like a bit of a shine. I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was good, it was fun, and yeah, RVD proved he could still hold it.
Yeah, in more ways than one, because he was high as a motherfucker. Anyway, on to Collision. Sammy Guevara lost Hobbs in a fun no DQ match. Of course, as Monty said, that was his last one for now. And then Sting's last Dynamite. Well, actually, Adam Page, first and foremost, was faking his knee injury. And again, a real hoove move for who has been like the biggest babyface in AEW the past couple of years. FTR
it was a great promo, to be fair. It was a great promo.
And passion for it. And that moustache has brought some aggression, hasn't it?
For sure. I'm really liking this character change within Hangman because this was unexpected. I genuinely felt gutted at the beginning of at the start of this show because I was like, seriously, he's injured. What is going on with these continuous injuries? Oh my gosh, it's just gonna be one-on-one now. I wonder what's going to change about things. So it just filled you up with so much emotion at the beginning. Then just to see just like that, nope, he was lying. Unexpected from Hangman. I really like this change within him. It just kind of builds a bit of difference for his character. It doesn't keep him like stagnant or anything. It actually brings a bit more characterization to him.
Yeah, without a doubt. FTR and Eddie Kingston lost to Blackpool Combat Club. Will Ospreay came out to talk about officially being done with other obligations and being all elite. And then Darby Allin and Ric Flair both tried to attack the Young Bucks, but they used bats to get the advantage. When Sting finally showed up, he was lowered down from the rafters, and of course it created a great callback to his WCW days. And Monty, as you know, I don't praise AEW often, but that was a great spot without a shadow of a doubt and brought back a lot of great memories.
Yeah, we'll talk. I'll talk about it more when we get to the last match. But man, just the handling in general of Sting is just top level, top class stuff, man. Like, I will give AEW shit when I feel like they deserve it, but like I will also give them love and credit when they do something right. And I just think it was done right. Even the way they used Rick made sense because we all know why Rick really was initially signed. At least the way what they were trying to tell us was that he wanted to be involved in the Sting stuff. And all the way the closer to Revolution as we got, he didn't really seem like he was going to be involved that much at all, which I'm pretty sure most fans didn't mind. But for him to be like, to go to the Bucks and like, all right, well, I'm going to be involved some way. We all know that he always was the adversary of Sting. But then for him to turn on the Bucks, and then you get to the point to where Sting makes the save the way he makes the save, like you said, bringing up all those great memories of just watching him during his debut as the Crow Sting against the NWO. Just like you mentioned, it just dredges up fond memories for him and what he did. Because again, I'll talk about it more when we get to the last match, just his impact. But I think that's what I love the most about this is that you immediately, especially if you know anything about it, and if you don't know anything about it, you can tell younger fans about it because it dredged up those great memories of just what Sting means to a lot of us wrestling fans who've been watching long enough to remember those days. So yeah, this was just, like you said, perfectly executed. An awesome way to kind of get you revved up for the show going into the weekend.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Well, now it's time for Revolution. Of course, there was a countdown to Revolution, like a half-hour show, which wasn't too bad. But we'll get on to the main show, which was March 3rd. And can I say, after being nice about AEW, fuck you, AEW, with your 90-minute 0 hour, all right? We don't need 90 minutes. An hour's plenty. Renee Paquette and RJ City lead us through. David Crockett with Tony S. giving us some fun colour commentary. Nigel Excalibur on main commentary. And the Bang Bang Scissor Gang kicked off Sunday 0 hour. As they got the win, the Jay White and the Guns partnered with the Trios champs, the Acclaimed and Daddy Arse, to defeat the mismatched team of Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, Private Party, and Willie Mack in a bloated match. Max Caster botched his pre-match rap and reacted accordingly. Of course, there was plenty of action in this. The Switchblade leveling Mack with Blade Runner for the win, and the post-match promo teased something with substance potentially coming at big business for Jay White. Gina, what were your thoughts on this to start us off?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say, James, I agree with you about the 90 minutes. We didn't need it. Like, of 0 hour. Honestly, it was painful, and I had it up, but yeah, I wasn't exactly the biggest fan of sitting through an hour and a half of that. Anyway, to the tag match. Yeah, I thought it was a good match. You know, I think it was fun. There were so many people in it. It got those who were already sort of there, you know, for the event. It had them, you know, hyped up. I think it was great to see the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, as it always is. They've got great chemistry with the audience, but they also seem to work well with others, making the other team look great. I'm so happy Mark Quenn's back. I'm not gonna lie. I loved Private Party, and it was really sad to know that he's been out for such a long time. So seeing him back, it did feel like quite a breath of fresh air, if you want to give it a slogan. So yeah, I enjoyed the match. It was fun, entertaining, and I knew who was going to come out as the winners anyway, because it felt like it was going to go that way. But I wouldn't have been mad if it went either way.
What would you score out of 5?
Do you know what? I'll give it a 3 3/4. I thought it was good.
Jaxie, what's your score? What are your thoughts? And also, can I say, if Jay White was on WWE booked like this, a lot of wrestling fans would be losing their minds. I don't know what you think about that, Jax.
I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely different from seeing the way he was as the Bullet Club leader, for sure. But I could see WWE eating that up, you know? I liked the match. I thought it was fun. I thought it was really good. It was a way to warm up the crowd. Agree with a lot of your statements about a 90-minute, 0 hour unnecessary. But then again, they'll do anything for more screen time, right? I gave this a 3.5. Enjoyed it. Also, do we all think that these Max Caster fuck ups are purposely done, or is this genuinely Max Caster fucking up consistently? Because I don't know, but that's a question.
Monty, you want to take that?
The first one I think was a mistake. I think now it's a running thing to maybe he's lost it or something. You know, that's what I think. I think he messed up the first time, and I think now they like, let's run with this. Let's see if we can make an angle that he can't do it anymore or whatever.
Maybe like he's lost his mojo now, like he's part of like the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, and like that this is going to eventually lead to them disrupting.
Right. Plus, he did have a stupid one that was off AEW television that really got him in trouble. And I think the last time when he messed it up, he tried to take a shot at management, and that's when he messed it up. So maybe this is an angle from the beginning. You can make that case too.
Right.
What do you score out of 5, Monty, anyway?
Yeah, I wasn't really into this, man. I gave it 2.5. Really, I mean, it was fine. The match, not so much about the wrestling, just like you mentioned, it was just I didn't really see a purpose in it for this match other than just getting the Bang Bang Scissor Gang all on television, you know, giving Private Party a match and all of that. But other than that, other than the nice strut that everybody did with Jeff Jarrett and the promo after the match. Yeah, and the promo after the match, nothing really was memorable here for me. I was happy because the reason why I say the promo after the match is just because, like you mentioned, it hints that even Tony realizes, okay, Jay White is the top guy that I need to spend more time, you know, giving him more focus again, because I think as much as the Bang Bang Scissor Gang seemed entertaining at the beginning, it's already to me kind of like, all right, how long are we going to do this? Because I'm still just waiting on the Bang Bang Gang to turn on them, or at least that's what I was hoping we were going, but they kind of dragging this out. So we'll see. I'll give it time, but yeah, I'm not really too interested in what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I got a theory on that. I've got a theory that is going to be like Jay White and the Bullet Club guys losing the Ring of Honor trios belts, and then they're going to come for the AEW trios belts, and that's when they'll turn on the Acclaim. That's what I reckon.
Yeah, well, it needs to happen sooner than later, in my opinion. And I'm waiting on Juice too, because that was another thing. Like, maybe when Juice returned, they'll turn on him too. But we'll see.
Juice will
God,
come
I
back and
missed
just be
Juice.
like, "What the fuck are
Yeah.
you guys doing?"
Right.
What I left.
Yeah, he's gonna be like,
With
fuck, he's
Osprey.
gonna be like, fuck these guys, man. What?
Yeah, but
Any-
I'm hoping with Osprey being there too, he's just going to be like, "Sure, fuck this," because I've been here a long time, and then you're just putting Osprey on a fucking pedestal. Like, where's my,
Yeah.
where's
Yeah,
Jay's
well, true.
time? I could just see him just losing his shit, to be honest, at one point, and just, yeah, that's what I want to happen.
We'll see what
Right.
happens. 3.25 for me with that one. Predictions, the WNR Prediction League 2024. This is after Elimination Chamber and before Revolution. Bonus League, Monty on 16. And again, I have to point this out, and he's not paying me, but he's literally matched his winning score from last year, which has never been done before. So unless, like, it's a complete meltdown, Monty, like, again, I just don't know. It's crazy. Gina on 10. I'm on 9. Jaxie on 6. WWE as Monty again in the lead with 2. I'm behind on 1. And Jaxie Gina on 0. The AEW one we're going to start now. We all went to Scissor Gang, so all on 1. Backstage, Owen Cassidy shouldn't be wrestling, and the Bastard Pack will return soon. And Jaxie again, it was like, I recognise that guy. Who is it? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it's Pack, innit?
Oh my gosh. I actually got really excited by this. I've genuinely missed Pac, and I really hope that the minute he returns is a push straight away. I kind of don't care like whether or not it's like for a main title push, but like just a push in general. Like it's been a while since we've seen his return, and eventually I would like to actually see him reunite with both Ray Fenix and Penta and recreate Death Triangle, because they were an awesome trio. They had great chemistry with the House of Black, and the House of Black need renovating as well. So like we need our trios division back. It's kind of like, you know, faltered a little bit, and that's not any fault of the Acclaimed, but the trios teams in general have been a little bit scattered or injured or this, that, and the other. So it's really great to start seeing wrestlers return, and with any luck, we'll see like a return of Ray Fenix at some point, and maybe kind of reinvigorate the trios tag team division again.
Without doubt. Well, next match on the 0 Hour was Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander versus Sky Blue and Julia Hart. And the Hills controlled a large portion of the match by isolating each of their opponents at different portions of the bout. Late Low, Statlander and Nightingale's power advantage proved to be the difference. After Nightingale broke up a pin by Hart on Statlander, that preceded a pitch-perfect moonsault. The babyface mounted a comeback that concluded with a big powerbomb from Nightingale to Hart for the victory. Monty, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this felt like a showcase type of deal. But if you've been watching Rampage or you've been keeping up with what's been going on in the world of Statlander, Willow, and Julia and Sky, it's been kind of a ongoing deal going on here for a while. I think the best thing about this, besides, of course, the wrestling, because I thought this was really, really good, and I actually was hoping, always hoping for another title match. But I think the best thing about this is that it feels like since Willow got the victory the way she did, we're going to be leading to maybe a Willow towards the TBS title situation. I thought maybe they're going to try to run Chris back, because I don't even think Chris got pinned when she lost to her, but I don't remember. But the point is, when she lost the title, but I don't remember exactly if she did get pinned or not. But Willow Nightingale getting more television time, getting more prominence, becoming a contender, I'm always down for that. So, yeah, I thought this was really, really good. I'll probably give it 3.5 overall. Solid stuff. Good match. Good way to start things off for the night. And it was a really good tag match. I thought everyone showcased themselves pretty well.
Yeah, I think without doubt. Gina, as Monty mentioned, all look good in this, but I think Willow, especially with her pounce, and we see Stokely saying, like, almost pounce into Sting's first match, like, there's something special about Willow Nightingale, and don't get me wrong, the other talent's great, but Willow, I just really like her.
Yeah, I mean, Willow really connects with the crowd and the fans, to be honest. There's something about her. She has a charm, and you can't take your eyes off her when she's on the screen, to be honest. It's not even necessarily a thing like, oh, she's an amazing wrestler. She's good and she's great. And every time we see her, I feel like she's improving. But there is just still some sort of charm and charisma that she brings. And I think everyone feels that with her. I agree with Monty as well. I feel like at some point, Jesus.
Hello.
Hello?
You're right. God, shit.
Right.
There was a massive
Phone
alarm
emergency
going off
services.
outside. There was a
Oh,
massive
alarm.
alarm going off outside, so I just quickly put myself on mute so that you guys
I
didn't
thought
hear
you
it.
got attacked.
My God.
It just
Oh,
went
wow.
off suddenly. Apologies. Either way, I thought the match was great. I just think that Willow shines, and I do agree with Monty that she possibly is being pushed into the direction of taking the TBS belt. But I also feel like we're possibly going to get a heel Chris coming soon, because we've not really had a heel Chris Statlander shine through. So I do feel like that is possibly coming. But I'm going to go with Monty and give it a 3.5 as well. It was entertaining, and I was glad to have, another female match on the match card. So
Yeah, right, Dale. Jackson, what are your thoughts? And again, this was, of course, Hart's first match back from, well, if the tape was any indicator, the shoulder injury that sidelined her. It's good to see her back low, and again, TBS champion, maybe defending it a few more times.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think that this took anything away from her current run on the TBS championship. We all knew she had some form of injury, and considering she didn't take the pin here, I don't really feel like we need to kind of question whether or not there could be a decent run coming, especially with her now back in action. The match itself, again, I agree with a lot of what Monty and my sister said. It was very feel good. You can't help but love Widow, but I do feel a heel turn coming for Chris, and I'm kind of intrigued to see what that would look like. So if it comes, I'm all here for it, because I feel like this also would do a lot of good with Willow in building her character and what she stands for and what she believes in. It's being tested a lot with the whole Stokely causing interference when she wishes for that not to be the case. So I'm intrigued to see where things go from here for both women. And yeah, I agree. 3.5 seems like a decent score to give it.
Yeah, I gave it 3.5 as well. Predictions. Well, girls went for Blue and Hart. The boys went for Chris and Willow. So it means that the boys are on 2, girls are on 1. We then get an epic Sting video and we start the main show proper. First match is TNT Championship. Daniel Garcia versus Christian Cage. We see Cage manipulate his way to advantage and proceed to work over the challenger. At one point, the massive kill switch interfered on behalf of the champion, cutting off a comeback from Garcia. Only for a revenge-minded Daddy Magic to hit the ring and fight the masked heavyweight off. He did get twatted on Collision, so that's why he's looking for revenge. But again, I've never seen Luchasaurus kill switch being taken out by a man. Anyway, what no one accounted for was Nick Wayne's presence at ringside as he rocked Garcia, allowing Cage to deliver the unprettier and secure the victory. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on the opening match on the pay-per-view?
I mean, I think that this was pretty accurate for an opening match, to be honest. There was a lot kind of going on, but just in terms of interference from here, there, and everywhere, I was a little bit disappointed. I took a gamble with this one and put my cards in with Daniel Garcia maybe being the one to take the belt. The reason why I went with this was because I felt like potentially Adam Copeland might make an appearance and just kind of be like, well, I won that belt, and then you took it straight back off me within seconds. So I'm going to let you lose it to a new up and young coming starter, especially with the hype that Daniel Garcia is getting at the moment. So I definitely took the gamble with Daniel Garcia and believed again, without any interference, there would have been a lot of argument for like whether or not he really could have won that belt. So I'm proud of what he put into it. He's got the whole crowd behind him. Right now, they're doing good with Daniel Garcia. When it comes to the creative team. I'm intrigued to see where things go from here. I'm disappointed that my gamble didn't pay off, but this was a good opener. I think overall I gave this a 3.5. It was pretty decent,
Well,
and
as you
just
mentioned,
showcased
though,
Daniel Garcia well.
as you mentioned, though, I don't think Cage and Copeland need the TNT title for a feud.
No,
You know, like you said.
no,
So
this has gone beyond like
Mm.
a feud just for the title. Like this is like kind of old grudges that can't be buried type of feud. You know, there's a lot of history between them that really can carry their feud without this TNT championship. And right now it does kind of feel stagnant. There are times where I do actually go, wait, who's got the belt again? Oh, I forgot, it's Christian. Not saying that like he's not doing great with the belt, kind of what he's been doing with his character as well, because he is, but I don't believe that he needs it to actually continue on this evil bastard daddy role he's got going on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
no,
felt like
completely agree.
it would have been really nice for someone like Daniel Garcia, who has got a lot of traction behind him right now, to actually be the one to take that belt. And I thought it would have been at the help of Adam Copeland. So it was a bit disappointing not seeing any interference from him. But
Yeah.
as you said, Daddy Magic had turned up. He tried to make the heroic save, and that's understandable with his connection with Daniel Garcia. So overall, I felt like this was a great opener to Revolution.
Yeah, does suck to be you at the moment, doesn't it? Anyway, Monty, about this match, I think the thing is as well is Cage does not get enough credit as a worker. You know, a lot of people think, oh yeah, he's been around, but what he does in the ring, even like the kind of his attire, you know, and the way he kind of does stuff, he's top notch.
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing is about him too. He's been known as solid for so long that I think people, uh, like you said, he's genuinely underrated. Even though I think most people would agree he's a Hall of Famer. He has that type of talent in that career, but like, and he's overdue for Hall of Fame. Notice, by the way, for a long time. But like, what he's doing now is only making that case even stronger. And he's just been awesome for someone who was also one of those guys who you didn't know if he ever was going to come back due to injury, to see what he's able to do and how. The thing is, he's just, and this is what he was even in his prime. If you want to say he's not in his prime now, he was always consistent, and I think that's kind of like underrated. Maybe that's why he gets underplayed so much, is because he has consistently really good performances. And you're 100% right. I think he played off Daniel Garcia well here. He's a top-notch heel. He always has been really natural as a heel. I think he's always probably been a better heel, even though he's a pretty good face too. So again, Christian is one of those guys that if you just look at his resume and you go back and you think about his career, he's always been this damn good. But I think where he's at now, I think he's at that level where they say wrestlers get to that master. They've mastered their craft. Like, he doesn't have to do too much. He doesn't have to overdo anything. He has the crowd in the palm of his hands no matter what's going on. And he's just the consummate pro. He's a Hall of Famer and I think he will be if WWE ever get their wits about it. Even though I guess he has spent a lot of time away at this point, but hopefully at some point they still realize he is a Hall of Fame talent. But yeah, man, and I think hopefully if AEW does right, and you mentioned it with Pat coming back, AEW has so much damn talent, man. You forget about the caliber. But I would like to look back at this. You forget about how much talent they have, and they only seem to be getting more every week. But yeah, man, I really hope we can look back at this and be like, you know what, this is probably where the Daniel Garcia's run really started. Hopefully, because I felt like that's the way the crowd looked at it. I felt like that's the energy this match had. It felt like something that was going to make Daniel Garcia take him to another level at some point. Let's just hope that they react on that with the booking. I thought this was good. Definitely a lot of interference, but it was Christian. It was no way the family wasn't going to get involved, in my opinion. But yeah, this was good. I thought it was it's probably good to awesome, but like in that spectrum, but I would say very good because it was some top level work here from both guys. That false finish when Christian kind of limped into the pile driver, I thought we were screwed. I thought I was screwed. I really did. I thought Garcia had it right there. So it was just awesome. The energy was great for this match.
And what would you score it?
I give it 4.
Give it
4 out of 5.
Yeah, like I
4
said,
out of 5.
great kick out. Gina, I mean, a lot has been said about this, but so I think you score for the match, but also like, what is next for Garcia? Then, where would you like to see him? You know, I think he's ready, but it all depends on the booking now.
Yeah, again, I agree with all the comments, so I gave it a 4 as well. I do wonder what is next for Garcia, but I think he has been showcased quite a bit, and they need to kind of keep it going. So there are other people that he can form storylines with. It doesn't necessarily even need to be for a title, but just, you know, showing some of the older wrestlers that have been there, and even some of the veteran AEW wrestlers, that he's still on this hot streak and he can still get wins over other people, you know. So I think like he definitely needs to explore other storylines and other feuds, but I wouldn't necessarily say like he needs to be shoved straight to the top right now. I think they need to keep building him, but I think they're doing great with him. I like him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm going to give it a 4.25. Predictions, we all went Cage, apart from Jaxie, so it means Team Jonty is on 3, Gina's on 2, Jaxie on 1. Continental Crown Championship match next, Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. And the story here was Kingston's grit and resiliency and the mounting frustration it caused in Danielson. Eddie injured his right hand during a missed chop that struck the ring post, but he did deliver a discus back fist with his injured hand, but was unable to capitalise because of the pain. Both competitors threw everything they had at each other before the champion on court to left hand comeback that rocked Danielson, a lariat that countered a Bicycle knee, and a powerbomb that ended the American Dragons Championship chase. Gina, what were your thoughts on this matchup?
Sorry, which one are we talking about now? The
Danielson versus Kingston.
Oh, yeah, no, this match was great. Guys, it was so good. I was so entertained. These two just wanted to go to town on each other, and they did. I had no idea which way it was going. And to be honest, I'm quite shocked with the ending because I truly thought Danielson was going to win here. I really did. You know, there were some spots where it did look like Eddie was going to get the win, but Danielson just kept getting up. And I was just like, no, that's fine. I think he's going to get this win. And sadly, my risk didn't pay off. So, but to be honest, I'm giving this match a 4.25 because it was great.
4.25. What's crazy to think, I mean, Jaxie, I don't know about you, but Danielson seems to be not losing a lot, but he has put Eddie over on back-to-back pay-per-views, which is kind of the sign of like, look, I might not be here, but this is the guy now, would be fair to say.
Yeah, like, I mean, again, I think I had that very thought at my prediction being wrong in this match. I genuinely thought Danielson might pick up the win here because of that very reason you just mentioned, which is he's been taking quite a few L's lately, you know, and I thought that this would be retaliation for that. But you can't deny that this match wasn't a great one between both of them. It was just as good as their first match between each other, and really is solidifying how good Eddie is in the ring, and you know how well he can carry a championship. So it's really great to see Eddie with this run at the moment and still staying consecutively winning. And yeah, I can't really be too disheartened that I took another L here, because I don't think I would have minded if either man had won. Both men in the ring are just so exceptional, and it was pretty hard to take your eyes off the match because it just was evenly balanced. You know, like you said, Danielson really was putting Kingston over, and the chemistry between the both just like enhanced that. You know, I gave it a 3 3/4.
3 3/4. Yeah, like I said, really good stuff. Monty, I don't know if it's because I'm watching more New Japan, but this felt like a New Japan match. Like, am I going crazy? Or like, it's very, very similar to what we're used to?
Yeah, I'm about to say no. I mean, honestly, that's pretty much Eddie Kingston style. You know, strong style. You know, King's Row, All Japan, old school New Japan type of stuff. New Japan still does it, but like he's more of an old school throwback type of Japanese pro wrestler. So yeah, man, the chops, the strikes, the kind of fighting through all the damage that Danielson threw. I mean, it's very similar. I was watching Danielson's match with Zack Sabre Jr. and it's not the same thing because it's a lot more technical, a lot more catch wrestling. But literally, Danielson has kind of been fighting his style as of late, especially since he had Jun Akiyama and he had Yuji Nagata. He's been on a run of kind of just fighting his style. So they were kind of prepping you to let you know that if you like King's Road, you like strong style wrestling, that their match is going to be like that. And we talked about at this point that's the type of stuff that Eddie Kingston is. That's just what he loves, and I think Danielson's the perfect opponent for it because he blends many different styles into, and that's why he's one of the best, if not the best in the world, is because of just being able to kind of be a hybrid, to be able to wrestle so many different styles. And this was just really good stuff. And I think the kind of the handshake at the end and the whole respect. I mean, honestly, all three matches have had a really good story. You can go all the way back to the first match he had with Kingston, where Danielson wasn't really worried about Eddie at all, and he beat him, because he knew Eddie wasn't necessarily focused. But then, you have the Continental Classic. That match was completely different, and he thought he could take Eddie light. Eddie came into it and actually surprised him a bit, and this time he thought he could piss Eddie off. He also injured the hand, and Eddie just showed his toughness and was able to overcome him again. So it was just a really, really awesome just look. I really think their entire feud, and especially the in-ring work of all three of their matches, were really, really good. But just the story, too, of just really finally gaining respect. Brian not respecting him because he thought Eddie Kingston had plenty of potential back in the day that Eddie kind of let waste away if you let him and Claudio maybe tell it. But Eddie has come into his own, and he's had his moment now. And I think this is a really good title defense. One of the strongest matches. Well, not only of the night, but it was my match of the night pretty much until we got to stuff that happened later on in this card. So I really was into it. Like you said, definitely New Japan style. So this is right up my alley. But yeah, I give it like 4 1/4. It was really good.
Yeah, and the other thing about Danielson that makes him one of the best wrestlers in the world and of all time. It's not just what he can do in between the ropes and stuff like that, but it's like the little subtle things, the looks, and the kind of like even giving Eddie the respect at the end, showing that he actually did, earn it, and I think this, like I said, everything about this match was great. And again, I'm hoping in a year's time, if Eddie is mixing it for the AEW World Title, I'll be more than happy. I think that's the trajectory now, and I hope so. Like I said, I really enjoyed it as well. So 4 3/4 out of 5. Predictions, the girls went for Brian, boys went for Eddie. So the boys were on 4, Gina's on 2, Jaxie's on 1, and Taz joined the team. Up next, Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Wardlow, Dante Martin, Hook, Brian Cage, and Magnus battled in an all-star 8-man scramble match. Late addition to the card after injuries forced the cancellation of the Meat Madness match. Jericho and Magnus landed stereo line salts on Archer. Hook took to the top rope and delivered a double axe handle reminiscent of Macho Man Randy Savage. The cold-hearted Handsome Devil also applied red rum to Wardlow, dropping him to his knees. From there, Jericho applied the Lion Tamer in a double submission spot. But on the heels of a power bombshell promo, Wardlow channeled his sudden momentum to a hard-fought victory, obliterate Martin with a powerbomb for the win. Monty, I guess better late than never for Wardlow. And as I mentioned, he did give a fantastic promo a couple of days before, and I think a week previous as well. And again, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like you said, better late than never in this case with him, because I think we all were wondering after his TNT run and, and some of the things he had going on, how hot Wardlow was seemingly. I think we all had better expectations for where he would be right now. But yeah, this is all about him. I even think the match that was originally booked, that because of injuries or whatever, that couldn't happen. I think he was probably going to dominate and be strong in that match too. Because I think this is all about building Wardlow, and especially with Joe, being in the position. But honestly, it didn't really matter who would walk away as champion because of how strong that promo was. He made himself sound very, very justified for being in this spot. So it was really tough to see anyone else in this situation. I have to admit, though, from my perspective of the entire Scramble match, it was a lot going on. It wasn't bad. I'm not going to say it was bad or anything like that, but I will say that, I'm gonna be nice because I know this wasn't what was originally planned. But man, it was kind of tough to get through because really, to be honest, the CMLL guy in this match, you probably had an idea that he wasn't going to do it. Didn't really believe in Dante. Like, who did you believe? No one wanted
When I saw
Jericho.
Magnus, I thought Nick Aldis. I'm not gonna lie.
And that's another thing too, And they did try to explain who he was, I think, but it was on Rampage, so you have to actually watch Rampage. And like a lot of people don't pay attention to what, if they are watching, they don't pay attention really to much that goes on Rampage. So yeah, man, it was tough to get through from the element of, okay, can we just get to the part where Wardlow wins? Because no one in this match wanted. The only other guy who was credible was Jericho. And no one wanted. He did a promo on Collision that was teasing that he would be the winner, and no, Jericho. No one wants you to get a shot at Joe. It's a reason why you haven't had a shot at the AEW World Title since you lost it. No one wants you back there. But this was good for Wardlow. Good for Wardlow. I give it 3 overall. Again, it wasn't really what I was into. I'm being nice in my opinion, giving it a 3 because it was just a lot going on.
But again, Gina, I don't know about you, but at least we got a little bit of meat in this match. I know it wasn't the meat advertised, but a little bit of meat inside is always good.
Definitely agree with that statement. I think we should quote that, to be fair. But still, I agree 100% with all of Monty's comments. It wasn't my favorite. I think if in terms of like who else could have potentially have won this match, the only other thought I had was, Hobbs, because he's just, he's not like big, but he's still kind of hot right now, and people still do like seeing him trample over people, so the only other person I could have thought of winning this was Hobbs. But in my mind, storyline wise, it made sense for Wardlow to get it. It was an okay match. I'm going to give it a 3 as well. But again, I didn't really see any of the others winning this match. So for me, it was already a done deal. And I don't know whether it would have been I would have had the same mentality if it had been its original planned match, or whether it would have been the same, because we know that Wardlow really needs to kind of be pushed here with the way that they're going with the Kingdom storyline. So it's interesting. I'm happy for Wardlow winning it, but I think a 3 overall because it wasn't my favorite match of the match card.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I've got one statement, which is someone told Dante to slow it down a tad. Jaxie, I want your score, but I've got a couple of questions, and I don't know if you can answer them. Is that all right?
More than likely, probably not, but I shall give it a good shot. Go for it. But my score overall, I'm agreeing with a lot of the comments that both Monty and my sister made, so it's a 3.
Yeah. Right, a few questions. How did Tony not know Miro was injured? Is Keith Lee still injured? Why wasn't Big Bill in this? Where has Ricky Starks gone? What happened with the Jericho thing? Will Magnus ever feature in the future? Any idea?
Who's Magnus?
Who's Magnus?
Yeah.
Point proven.
There we go. We proved that point.
He was the luchador one that was in this match, sis.
Sorry. I didn't realize. Sorry. My bad. Well, there's quite a few of them. My bad. All right.
No.
Yeah, as you can tell, that is the reason for this score. Is like, it just kind of fell flat compared to a lot of the other matches that are on this match card. So it wasn't my favorite of the night. This could have easily started the night off as well, and probably would have gotten roughly like the same sort of rank. I think it was there. It did what it needed to do. It pushed Wardlow. So yeah. And James, I cannot answer any of those other questions. You just absolutely. Sorry.
It's just, as people getting bored, these questions popped into my mind whilst watching this matchup. 3 1/4 for me. Predictions: we went Wardlow. So it means the boys are on 5, Genius on 3, Jaxie on 2. AEW International Championship match next, Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. Of course, hampered by a back injury that threatened his competition clearance, he found himself on the defensive nearly from the get-go. Strong, known previously as the Messiah backbreaker, expertly picked his opponent apart, leaving him capable of delivering his signature move and stringing together consistent offense. The challenger ultimately caught Cassidy with a knee strike and delivered End of Heartache for the win. After the match, though, Kyle O'Reilly made his first appearance in well over a year, hugging the new champion and turning down an offer to join the Undisputed Kingdom. Instead, Brisbane saying to his friend and walking away. Jaxie, what did he whisper? These are questions I'm asking you. No, what are your thoughts?
Oh, God. It could have been many things, but I like to think it was,
Buy
I am
milk.
your father.
I am your father.
Yeah. Overall, I liked this match. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a great showcase between both Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy, and really just kind of helped solidify what statement the United Kingdom are looking to make here. I got excited at the return of Kyle O'Reilly, but James, I'm going to ask you a question. Why did he look like a homeless person? Why are some of these why are some of these comebacks making them look like, oh, what have you been doing since you've been off? Because he just looked kind of tired, haggard. He had he was wearing what looks like what fans would wear to the show and stuff. I just thought he would.
Maybe he's using heroin as a recovery. Do you know what I mean? Good news, bad news. I haven't got a neck injury, but I am addicted to crack.
I mean, I like to think not, considering he's got a family to kind of take care of. So hopefully he's not spending all of his money on crack. But seriously, I'm not trying to always say looks is everything, but sometimes when you're making a comeback or a return, that can actually also hype up the crowd to be like, yeah, he looks good. Oh my God, what's he gonna do? So I really was a little bit kind of shocked by his appearance. I thought he would have been looked a little bit tidier or neater at least. But I'm excited to see where things go, because I was initially thinking straight away he's teaming up with them. So it was an interesting move to see him just whisper something, we don't know what, and see where things go for him.
That's what he said.
Give me $20. Give me $20. So yeah, we'll see.
What would you score the match out of 5?
I'm gonna give this a 3 3/4. I thought it was a good match, and it did what it needed to do. Roderick has now solidified an even stronger basis for the United Kingdom to go on, and it's only up from here with the United Kingdom right now, holding more gold. So
yeah. Well, let's talk then. Like I said, the Undisputed Kingdom and Monty. As we know, it's shadows from the Undisputed Era past. Kyle O'Reilly coming back. It is great to see him, and also Roderick Strong. Has he gone from joke to kind of champion now? And is the Kingdom going to get serious? Because we know Roddy again is a really good worker.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, Roderick has that switch. He's just awesome in the ring. We know this. We know at this point, if you don't know anything about Roderick's Ring of Honor run in the past, you don't know about him in NXT, he's always going to put on great performances. But you're 100% right. It's time for him to transition from being in the chair and screaming Adam's name and all of that, and just moving on and doing his thing as a legitimate champion and wrestler. I think, honestly, since I know what Roderick Strong is all about as the backbreaker Messiah, soon as Orange Cassidy was talking, that's another thing about it. I was like, don't tell me you shouldn't be wrestling before this match with a guy like Roderick. Come on, man. We talk about Roderick Strong. He's that's literally was his thing, is injuring people or and being super duper aggressive and being like a freak of nature, because that's the thing about Roderick Strong. He's not he's nowhere near, because Cesaro's a huge human being or Claudio's a huge human being, but he's in that same ilk of guys that's why he's Roderick Strong for a reason. He has a reputation of picking up and doing things unbelievably that you wouldn't expect for someone his size. So I'm expecting this run to be great, especially from a wrestler's point of view. I would caution, and I think since he's a heel, Tony won't do it anyway. But I would caution that he should probably not book the international title the way he booked it when Orange Cassidy was champion, because people did get fatigued of that pretty quick. And it took a guy like an Orange Cassidy who was really, really popular. Not to say he's not still popular. He is, but the constant same old did kind of run its course. And I think we'll see. I'm pretty sure Orange Cassidy's probably going to keep doing what he's doing anyway. But we'll see going forward how this run is. But I'm with you. I think it's time for they wasted so much of our time with the devil stuff. So you want this. I think I don't know about you guys, but I want the Undisputed Kingdom to actually be a threat and actually live up to something. Because if not, it just feel like everything with Max and all of that. Who was the devil? Who was this? Was just a waste of time last year. Like this year, they have to be a major threat, not just Ring of Honor champion, not just matches here and there, and and all of that. Professor X Cole that I like to call Adam at this point. I think there's time for them to get really, really serious, be a threat in every division that they are in. And I think Roger took a good step here in this match. I like this match though. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really good. Orange Cassidy has been really consistent. This is right in line with a lot of those other performances. So I'm really optimistic about it. The only thing I will say about Colorado's outfit, he did have a Bull Nakano shirt on. So that was, it was nice to see the legend on his shirt. But yeah, how did he look? He looked like a guy who hurt his neck and they didn't know whether he would come back to wrestle or not. I think that's the pass I would give him for why he looked so bad.
He didn't find out, an hour before, did he? Like,
no. But I'm saying he looked like a guy who was literally
you cleared.
struggling.
Go.
But but I'm saying he's a guy who's literally been, and I'm pretty sure if they lean into it, they should explain that more, because that's the reason why he looked the way he looked. Like the dude was depressed for a long time. You can see that. I saw depression, but I understand what you guys are saying.
Yeah, well, if you want to see depression, we do this, we won't do audio. Anyway, what a great reign. Agena, Orange Cassidy, I know you're a huge fan. What a great reign. The most consistent wrestler in AEW. I think the only bad news is he's more bandage than man now. I mean, what did he expect? To wear that many bandages and not have a target?
Yeah, he's going to change his name to Orange Mummy. Do you know what? It's actually weird. I feel like I gained a lot of respect for Orange Cassidy in this match. And looking back on his reign, I'm not trying to say that he's never had a good reign. He's just not been my favorite wrestler. That's all. It's just difference of opinion. But he's still been good and entertaining. Either way, it was a good match. I'm happy Roderick won, though. I feel a little bit biased because I feel like I really liked Roderick in NXT. And so when he came over here, I feel like biased towards him in a way. So I'm happy he got this win. I'm looking forward to seeing them continue on this winning run, I hope. Just like Monty said, they really need to push them and keep them at the top. I think, once Adam Cole gets better from injury, they need to keep him elevated. So if they want anything with the storyline with Max to be actually relevant, they need to do that. So totally agree. And I gave the match 3 3/4.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4. Predictions, you all went strong, so it means the boys on 6, Gina's on 4, Jaxie on 3. And we've got FTR versus John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli next. The BCC dressed like LOD. The match started slow with both teams filling each other out amid an audience still recovering from the night's action to this point. But once things picked up, the crowd came alive and the match intensified. Harwood bled buckets late. The drama was at high following some high-quality near falls. The crowd was behind the idea of a hometown FTR scoring the victory. But it wasn't to be. The BCC, however, broke up several attempted pins by the both faces and ultimately put them away with stereo submissions. Gina, what are your thoughts on this? I'm happy, but obviously, I'm upset.
What did you say? You're happy about what?
No, I'm not happy, but you know why. Because obviously I went FTR and I'm annoyed that a tag team lost to 2 singles wrestlers. But, I mean, what do you thought of the match? I mean, the match was great.
No, I totally get you. I agree. For me, I was very disappointed to see them lose it, but also happy in a way because of my prediction. But regardless, I still have that soft spot for them. There's always going to be that soft spot for FTR, and yeah, it was hard to watch because they gave it their all. Both teams gave it their all, but you could see like FTR really put their hearts into this and was expecting to get the win, and they didn't. They just seemed disappointed. Like I was disappointed along with them. But either way,
exactly
I enjoyed
what I was saying last week about home state heroes winning as well. You know.
Yeah, definitely. But I enjoyed the match and I gave it a 4.
Gave it a 4. I mean, the question is though. I mean, Jaxie, is there a better way to use Mox and Claudio? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know tag team in that, but Tony loves putting 2 single stars in the tag load. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to like tag teams.
I do agree with that statement. However, I feel like I'm a little bit biased. I really love the BCC. I mean, I think you can tell that with my predictions being very much like pro BCC. But I've loved what both Claudio and Mox are doing as a team. And I kind of have to disagree in terms of like they've been really like proving themselves as a team. And it's kind of a nice change because they are 2 singles people. There's no room for Mox in the main AEW title picture at the moment. I just feel like the match itself was awesome. Both tag teams in the match like just worked so well together, and like there was just a lot of false pins that made you think really who was going to be the winner or the outcome here. So I really loved it. I gave this a 4.25, and I think personally I was a bit smug because my loss like my prediction with Danielson was made up for here with Mox and Claudio picking up the win. Shut up, James. Let me actually have this one win. You've been on a fucking rampage. So let me actually get one. For fuck's sake. You sore loser.
Monty, I mean... Monty, what are your thoughts? Because again, why does Tony hate FTR for? And I've seen loads of great FTR matches, but so maybe I wasn't like, oh wow, a great FTR match, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think if you've been watching, that's all they do. So it's like you're almost like, okay, so you're just putting them in this situation to spotlight them. I'm with you. I kind of went with not only because they were in South, I just thought it was a perfect time to give FTR that victory. But I don't want to spoil a pick that I had later, but I was also playing a game with that too. So I'll explain that later when we get there. But yeah, as far as this goes, like you mentioned, I'm also of the ilk that if you're going to book a tag team, this is what they do. I don't care if it's Claudio and Moxley. I don't care who it is. If you're a legit tag team, one of the best in the world, and this is literally what you do, no matter how good Dax is as a singles superstar or wrestler, whatever you want to say, I just think that FTR should probably prevail, especially with the draw and how close they came on the tag match they had, I think, a few weeks before this.
Losing on Dynamite.
Yeah, it was on Dynamite, right. So they go to a draw with the real team. So you think, oh no, the team that actually is a team all the time. Not that at this point I'm getting more used to Moxley and Claudio teaming up. And maybe that's what the goal is. If the end goal is to book Claudio and Mox in the tag division consistently, then hey, I'm backing off. I get it. They're 2 awesome wrestlers individually, so they will be great tag, a great tag regularly, and they are in the faction together. So I'm not really tripping. But the match itself, it started off kind of slow, but once they got in that gear, you just was like, yep, still 4 of the best to do it. Like the FTR formula, it still really, really hits really well. And I think they really work hard. So I can't be mad at it because it's one of those situations where you're like, damn, I don't agree with the booking decision, but man, was that still a really good contest. So I don't want to say it took away from anything for me, but yeah, it was definitely not what I was expecting because, again, I'm just one of those guys who think if this is what you do, you're a tag team, you're 9 times out of 10, you should beat the singles wrestler unless interference or something of the like, you know, if we got a Wheeler Yuta type of deal, maybe you could convince me. But you know, no, they beat him, and it is what it is. You can't be mad at it. But that's another thing too with Mox. Mox goes over a lot. Not that he won't. Not that he hasn't put over anyone.
Get it wrong. Like,
right, exactly. And I'm not trying to say he don't put over anyone, because he does. But man, Mox is always gets me, man. Whenever I go against him, then when I support him, all right, I'm gonna lose the Orange Cassidy.
No hard feelings.
He screws me over.
For either of us in this matchup.
Oh yeah, it was a great match though. Great match.
Yeah, great match. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it 4 3/4. So no, I'm not gonna give it 4.5. Fuck it.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4 1/4 for me.
4 1/4 for you. Predictions: girls went BCC, boys went FTR. So it means the boys on 6, Gina's on 5, Jaxie on 4. The AEW Women's World Championship match next: Deanna Pratt versus Timeless Toni Storm. Following Storm's promise that Pratt would get the old her, and more, it looked like the Mae Young Classic winner was firmly back, but it was Mariah May who looked great. Excuse me. Woof woof. The placement on the card.
Woof, 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 woof.
Oof, oof, oof. The placement on the card, though, did the match a disservice. I really enjoyed the chain wrestling at the start, even if the crowd didn't. Deanna won the slugfest, but Toni hit a cunt kick to take advantage. The champion found herself reeling late, only to capitalise on a distraction from Luther. Momentary distraction from May to put number one contender and former friend Deanna Pratt away with the Storm Zero. Monty, what were your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Most of the actual match, by the way, like you mentioned, Mariah, a little bit too great at look. She looked a little too great at Toni mocking. Like, I'm like, whoa, how did they pull that off? Even though I knew it was her, it was just still like, damn. I didn't even think they were that identical, to be honest. But she looked good. But yeah, man, this match was really cool. Really, really cool. The technical work, I thought I maybe I was expecting a little bit more, like wrestling wise. I think you're 100% right with the placement. It was definitely kind of did kind of wrong in that regard. But honestly, the way Toni books these cards, maybe you put it after that scramble, that boring scramble. Maybe that's what you do, and that maybe it would have got more love, because it would have been a legit, straight on, good championship match right after that. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with the match itself, as much as I will say that still I do feel like, and it's just me, that yes, the character Toni Storm, best in AEW, especially probably best in AEW in general, but especially in the women's division, best. But matches, I'm still not here, even when it came to what Deanna was doing. I thought Deanna got a really good match out of Toni in this situation. But with the interference and just some of the way things are done because of who Toni is at this point, I could definitely do without. And but I don't mind. I think this is not over. I think they can they can't. I know they both can do better. And the fact that we saw her tap, but the ref didn't see her tap, we might be getting that a match that's given time down the line. Maybe even a submission match. I wouldn't be surprised with that, because I think Toni's been using the ankle lock. So yeah, I think they got more that they can go into. But they had pretty good chemistry. Solid stuff. I think overall I would give it 3 3/4.
3 3/4. But like I said, like Monty, we know what will happen in every Toni Storm match at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Gina, not to wind you up low, but does Tony Khan think the women can't go? Why can't a women's match go longer than 10 minutes with no TBS or tag titles? It's not acceptable. And again, it's great seeing Mox and Claudio versus FTR, but did that have to go 23 minutes in this 9?
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you there, James. I mean, it's not like he doesn't know that the women can actually do it. They've proved themselves to be able to do it. So I don't understand why he can't just give them a decent amount of time, especially when he loves to drag out the match card. You love to give us 5-hour shows. If you're going to do that, then at least let the one women match have a decent running time. I don't understand his issue, whether he thinks like the women's matches are not important enough. But, you have female fans. You can draw more female fans if you gave a great allocated time to them. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing, to be honest, and not that like I expected a change in the title here. I think Toni is still so hot that it was good to just showcase Diana, but that was about it. I didn't truly believe she was going to lose it here. But I still think that they could have given a decent match if had it gone, like, I don't know, between 15 and 20 minutes. I think they truly could have put on a decent show. But no, Tony's not going to do that, not until he is kind of put in his place. So I still enjoyed the match, though, and I've given it a 4.
Giving it a 4. Yeah, like I said, Perazzo was a star in Impact, and now she's just another woman. But Jaxie, I'm looking forward to a romance angle with Hook in a couple of years, if that's what Tony does.
A romance angle with Hook and who?
No, Hook and Diona, because I was thinking, like, when Ruby Riott joined, we were all thinking, oh my God, there's a star who won't be booked in catering and actually have a proper run. But with Perazzo, you know, if you're thinking the same, don't worry, because she'll be with, like, Ruby Riott is in a couple of years' time. Or Ruby Soho.
Okay, well, let's hope that's not Hook. I kind of feel like that's a very
The problem is Hook. Is that the issue? Like,
I don't know. Like, that's a really odd pairing. I wouldn't put those two together. I couldn't imagine those two being together. Plus, Diana's married, is she not? I'm pretty sure
Steve
she
Macklin,
is married.
but if I'd have said that, there's no way he's getting an AW contract. You know what I mean? He might
Yeah,
be Ring of Honor, but...
You're probably right there. However, I do
watched
agree with
TNA.
these statements. I actually, that was my first comment, was, well, that was pretty short. Especially with them building up about this long friendship. I was actually expecting a lot of counters between the two of them because they know each other so well. So I do believe you're right. I believe that there is room and story to believe that there will be a little bit of a slower build towards their next pairing if they do get a chance to do that for the title picture. But I didn't also see Tony losing it here. She's a bit too hot still at the moment, and I did like the effect of the old Tony coming out with Mariah for a hot sec. I thought it was Tony coming out, like, you know, from the camera shot of the far shot before it zoomed up. Yeah, for a hot sec, I actually was like, wait, she put extensions in. Is this old Tony coming out? And then it zoomed in, and I was like, oh shit, it's Mariah. But I thought that was clever. I liked that. I thought, you know, I'm going to give that a little bit of credit for creativity, you know, and also just kind of like, I feel like that was a mind games with Diana being like, oh, is this the old Tony you knew? And then it actually wasn't. So yeah, it was what it was. I gave it a 3 3/4.
Yeah, I gave it 3 3/4 as well. Predictions: we went Tony. So the boys on 7, Gina's on 6, Jaxie on 5. Next match is Will Ospreay versus Kazuki Takeshita, and Wasso entered Greensboro Coliseum to a thunderous ovation, solidifying himself as one of the most popular guys in the company for match number 1. The opponents repeatedly dared each other to bring the fight, testing each other, and the crowd ate up. Takeshita sold a forearm to the face that knocked him down and apparently out, so much so that Bryce Vinsberg backed Ospreay off and checked on the young performer. Great individual performance for that moment. Yates responded with a forearm that levelled Ospreay, but was unable to follow up with a pin. Takeshita delivered a brainbuster that folded Ospreay in half backwards off the top rope and left him with a nasty contusion on his lower back. Takeshita managed to kick out a hidden blade at 1. Ospreay got the win, though, with a Tiger Driver and then with the hidden blade. After the match, an interesting development when Carl Fletcher appeared, and after a brief stare down of Brace's United Empire teammate, but not before Excalibur Field and commentary 2 would clash on Dynamite. But can I say I can't do this match justice anyway? But Jaxie, Will Ospreay's first AEW match, and I think he's completed wrestling.
I mean, yeah. Before I actually go into Ospreay talk, can we just quickly talk to Takeshita? Because what a run he's having. Like, you know, even though he took an L here, his matches have been consistent, and he very much is what I would call an underdog that doesn't get enough praise than what he deserves. Like, he is consistent. Watching him against Ospreay was just an absolute joy. I don't even know how to describe it. It really was just one. You have to go and watch it for yourself. This match hit so hard. I have to give it to both of them. For Will Ospreay introducing himself to AEW to be like, yeah, this is the company I've signed for. I'm here. he did his job. He got that paycheck, like he did so well. This match for me was like one of the best of the night. I actually gave this a 5-star. Really, really enjoyed it from both sides. I really enjoyed it. And at certain points, really believed Takeshita might actually pick up the win here and actually start Will Ospreay off on an L. So, I think both of them did an exceptional job, and I've really enjoyed this match.
This was phenomenal, and like you mentioned, Jax as well. Ospreay, but Takeshita, credit to him. And I did a bit of digging to try and look, and of course, like the history with like the DDT promotion and teaming with Kenny Omega and Monty. Maybe you can shed a bit more light. But I mean, if Omega picked Takeshita, he picked very well in him to come to AEW.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny, and I think that's the funny thing about whenever Kenny decides to come back. He chose Ospreay to take. He said when he left New Japan, Ospreay was going to lead New Japan into the future. Well, you see what Ospreay has been able to do since those days. He told Jay White a similar thing. You're going to be one of. He tried to recruit him into the elite when he was in New Japan. And we talk about what we expect from him. And then Takeshita, a guy way back in the day when Takeshita did not look like that. You go back to DDT, he was a smaller guy. He wasn't small, he was always tall, but he damn sure wasn't what he has become and what he's worked on his body. Same thing with Ospreay. They both guys, it's kind of funny how similar both of these guys are, when it comes to just what they've done to put themselves at this level. And I think this was just a perfect way. The match was so good that it made you forget that this was they had the dumbest reason ever for fighting. And I think, honestly, I almost would prefer y'all just told me, no, we know this match is going to hit. So, guys, let's just let them wrestle. Because just saying you're fighting as hard as they were fighting is calling it bonding or whatever you're trying to call. Like, no. This was just a showcase that Konosuke Takeshita is a perfect opponent for a guy like Ospreay. And it was just smart to put these two guys in the ring. And for people who never watched New Japan, people who didn't know anything about Ospreay, it was a great way to introduce them because this is the type of stuff Ospreay has been doing. I think I came away from this match, and that's how I know my perspective is just different. And I'm not trying to say that people have been gassing this up. No, it was great. It was just as perfect as everyone has said it was. I'm not going to take anything away. But what I will say is I'm spoiled. I've just been so spoiled by Ospreay. And I think the stuff that people were reacting to on the internet while this match was going on, I'm like, I watched him do that to Shingo 2 years ago.
It's the same thing with FTR we were talking about. Again, Ospreay just seems to deliver these performances every match.
Right, exactly. I've become used to it. And this shit is not normal. Like, that's what I'm trying to say.
I want to add on to what Monty was saying about the good that Kenny has done in terms of sort of discussing potential crossovers and bringing over to AEW. He also kind of brought Riho over, and no matter what anyone wants to say, I do actually feel like there's just this consistent praise for Riho from the AEW fans, and she's done just as great within her first run as AEW Women's Champion.
So, Monty, you would score that match out of 5, though.
But no. It has to get a 5. Like, if you want to take anything away from it, first you're nitpicking or hating. It's like, you just got to say, well, you don't know the reasoning for it. But other than that, you can't come away from this match and be like saying this is not some of the best wrestling you've ever seen. And for some people, I think by the end of the year, people should be looking back. We'll see, because if you got Ospreay, it's a chance that he can just up this. He can up this literally in a couple weeks. Like, that's the thing. And I really, that's what I want. I'm very interested to see how do the AEW do this, because you can't book Ospreay like this every week. You're like, we had a pause in between some of these spectacles from Ospreay when he was in Japan. It wasn't like this every time. So if they find, I just want to know how they're going to balance it, because if you think you can book him like this every week, Dynamite, Ospreay's body, he's going to be falling apart by the end of the year.
Well,
but this was incredible, though. Incredible stuff.
We'll show him why he was all our Wrestler of the Year last year. But, Gene, I've got a question for you. And I know a lot of praise for Takeshita, but if you've just spent a couple of million on the new talent coming, and then you see him getting dropped on that fucking top turnbuckle, and you think, you fuck it. I mean, I'm slapping Takeshita when he comes back through the curtain in the end. I don't know about you.
The way that he bruised Will's back.
Yeah.
My God, I was so scared. He's paralyzed, guys. We got another Professor X coming. Like, yeah, it was a scary moment, but it was also awesome because Will just, got back up and just kept fighting. I can't give this match enough justice, just as much as what my sister and Monty said. It was just so great for me. I think Takeshita looked awesome, and him taking the L, I don't think that it will deter him in any way. And I think they do need to keep pushing Takeshita as well, because he's so underrated. So I gave it 5 stars too.
I had one question for you, though, because predictions, we all went Will, apart from you. Was that just taking a risk in this, or, was there a reason for Takeshita?
Yeah, no, I wanted to take a risk. Part of me thought they could go away. Like, I don't know if Don was going to be a bit of a turnboat when it comes to Will, and think, actually, let me kind of interfere and just kind of help Takeshita get the win over Will, so that he doesn't come in on this high horse, something like that. So I just went with the risk and was like, screw it, I'm going to go to Takeshita and see if he gets it.
That's right. You, like I said, you don't start kicking into gear till June, do you? So you can just fuck around.
In hibernation. I'm in hibernation, guys.
It means boys run 8, girls run 6, and JR joins the commentary. And say what you will about JR, and I'll probably take a few shots at him in the next, year or so, because he signed a new contract. But fair play to him, he is an absolute legend. AEW World Championship match next: Swerve Strickland versus Samoa Joe versus Hangman Page. It was an action-packed match that highlighted each star, as well as the ongoing rivalry between the two challengers. And Swerve's obsession with beating Page led to him to not follow up on covering Joe, instead focusing on Hangman and gaining only a 2 count following a house call to the back of the head. Nice bit of storytelling based on the established narrative of hatred between the challengers. Hangman obliterated referee Bryce Wimsberg, assuming he would not get count to fall that deliver Strickland the championship. Swerve refused to use Prince Nana's crown as well, which he utilised to beat Page in the first encounter. In the end, Joe trapped Page in a Coquina clutch before Strickland could break it up. Page tapped, awarding the match to the champion. The inspiration on the commentary though was that Page's hatred for Strickland was such that he tapped out on purpose to prevent his foe from winning the world title. I mean, Gina, that doesn't make any sense, does it? I understand you hate each other, but surely Page wouldn't just tap out if he could get out of it, just so Swerve wouldn't win.
No, I mean, to be honest, that's what both me and my sister were saying. We said that, Hangman Page's hatred for Swerve has grown so bad that he would rather tap out to Joe than let Swerve get the win. And I think in his eyes at that moment, he had tried everything he could, and he knew he possibly wasn't going to get this win. So instead, he thought, you know what, I'm going to tap to Joe because I would rather that than Swerve get this win. I truly feel like he did that out of spite. In terms of the match, again, oh my God, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. All 3 of them were just amazing. They did so much, and I don't know if I can give one more praise than the other, because there were so many moments where you thought each of them was going to get this win. So that's one of the things that I love about wrestling, is when you actually feel like you don't know who's going to get this win, apart from getting, the repeated matches and being like, yeah, we all know who's getting this one. So it was just really nice to kind of, feel. But yeah, I still thought it was a great match. I also gave this a 5.
I thought the crowd was a bit flat in this match, and maybe the placement was in the wrong place. But I don't know. I mean, Jackson
made so too long.
Yeah, but Jackson, I'll just let you know, if you and I were in a triple threat match, I would tap out so you didn't win.
Yeah, I can imagine that, to be honest, and I would actually just flip you off and be like, you cunt. Yeah, I think, do you know what? The reason why I have to agree with what my sister said about our stance on believing that Hangman would truly rather tap out to Joe than see Swerve pick up the win here is because of this new character that he's become. We've seen how aggressive he's become now, and just the change in him. Look at how aggressive he was with the refs. Like, he did not give zero fucks, and it was like,
Yeah, he
I'm
went
not gonna
holding
lie.
back, was he? No, I'm not gonna
No,
lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of all here for it. I kind of want to see how much more like off the rails Hangman's gonna get. This is Hangman sober, but still going off the rails. So we're getting yet another complete different character from Hangman. I'm all here for it, but I also believe that this truly will end up with a Swerve versus Joe one-on-one thing, which is, this is all still building towards that, and it was just great. I've watched this match twice. Our podcast and review on this match is not going to do it justice. Go and see it for yourselves. Again, agree with my sister. I've given it 5 stars.
No, that was me talking on mute there. That's great. We are nothing but professionals here. Yeah, without doubt, it was a really, really fun match. Monty, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought this was really, really cool. I have to agree with the girls. Like 100%, he did it on purpose. And it's more so just because, honestly, a few weeks back, and when they had that other match that was posed that made this a triple threat, and just how Hangman decided, nope, not going to give you 5 minutes. You couldn't beat me. Basically, he's become so obsessed with the idea of not letting Swerve become champion. Not just that he couldn't beat him. Like, he's giving, like, whatever. It doesn't matter about that. I just don't want you to ever, you cannot become champion. And whether people want to admit it or not, even with the double turn type of deal, I felt like that match did, because the crowd in that match they had that went to a draw, I think that match, the crowd really was behind Swerve. But when Hangman did that, they booed, and they understood that no, Hangman is not the same Hangman. And I think, like you got with faking the injury, everything else he's done to get an upper hand on a Swerve, it's not so much. As much as he keeps saying, yes, he wants to be champion. Yes, I'm sure he does want to get his belt back. But before he even, besides him getting that belt back, he would rather tap out. He would rather lose, look bad, whatever you think it is. He'd rather attack a referee than let Swerve walk away with that world title. Even if it does kind of be like, oh, okay, so, it does kind of, it puts his integrity in the question, which is perfectly in line with the unhinged kind of crazy character arc that he has been on. So I'd have to give kudos to Hangman for his commitment and just how well he has, because kind of like Drew McIntyre, the thing I love the most about Drew, and I know you're gonna love this, James, but the thing about Drew is you can say whatever you want about him being a hater or whatever. A lot of what he's saying is justifiable. Like the stuff he did to Jay, I love Jay, but you can't lie and act like what he said to Jay ain't justifiable
He just wanted
from
an
Drew's
apology.
point of view.
That's what he wanted.
Right, exactly. You can't say that's not justifiable from Drew's point of view because of what happened to him. And the same thing can be said to Hangman. This man went in Hangman's house and threatened, act like he was going to do something to his child. You should never forgive a man that did something like that. I don't care if you like dancing to his song, and anybody that cheers this guy, I don't like you either. You know what I'm saying? So Hangman is honestly justified. So I love 100% what he's become. And it makes sense. Even if you support a Swerve becoming champion and all that, it makes sense that Hangman wouldn't be. So, yeah, I love it. And again, Hangman has repeated one thing throughout this whole thing. As long as it's not Swerve, like he will not let Swerve become champion. He said that more so than he said that he's going to beat Joe. He said that Swerve won't do it. So the finish was perfect. The triple threat itself was kind of, like you mentioned, it was placed in a weird spot because of what we had just witnessed with Takeshita and Ospreay. But I thought with what they were giving and the fact that it wasn't the main event, I thought it was still really, really fun. I gave it 4 and a half. It was really, really good stuff.
Yeah, no, I gave it 4.5. Just to play devil's advocate, I completely agree. As long as Page comes out and says he knew he was going to lose, and that's why he tapped, or you know what I mean? Because otherwise, as soon as the match started and Swerve got out of the ring, just let Joe pin you, if that's the case. But again, I understand it. Now we've added a layer to it of saying if Page was in a position where he couldn't come back from, which kind of was in the match anyway,
Right.
So. Give it 4.5. Predictions, we went Joe. And this by no means swerves AEW, he's out the AEW World Title picture. Like I said, we know, especially with extra pay-per-view, which will be April 21st, Dynasty, great. That's coming. But predictions, boys on 9, girls on 7. And we've got the Tornado Tag Team matchup, which is the for the AEW World Tag Team titles, called Sting's last match. Ricky Steamboat, the guest timekeeper. Flair was there. In the crowd, we had quite a few of them. Magnum TA, DDP. Of course, other people like Lex Luger was there as well, but weren't allowed to be shown on camera. Bucks in robes rising from the ground, and Darby out alone. Sting's entrance preceded by an excellent video that saw the icon view from an empty movie theatre. Some of the highlights of his iconic career. Again, this was so... Monty, you touched on it earlier, and this was so well done. Even kind of, it being Showtime, it being his final Showtime, It's just... It did bring a lump to your throat. Even if you didn't know Sting, you knew he had a legendary career,
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I had a Sting doll at the time, and I didn't even really know. I had the Wolfpack red paint Sting, so I remember confusing it for Kane when I was little, and people were like, no, my uncle was like, no, that's Sting. And he was like, oh, really? And so, when I got older, and I went back to watch some of the old WCW stuff, and even some stuff from the 80s, as I just became more of a historian about wrestling, and just to see what he was like in his prime. And then Impact, I also did kind of grow up with Sting because I watched a lot of mid-2000s Impact, and he's just, by far, in my opinion, he was the greatest American wrestler that was outside of WWE easily. I don't care what anyone says. Somebody who just never stepped foot in WWE for a long time. And, everybody had a lot to say about how he was treated in WWE, and deserved, rightly so, because he deserved better because of what the reputation and what he had built up outside WWE and how big he was. But you're 100% right. Just from that, watching him in the theaters and the Showtime and all of that, it was just the only thing that could have brought this over the top. And I know they wouldn't have did it because WWE is petty, but it would have been nice if they could have got some of the old WCW footage or some of the Impact, if they wouldn't have screwed up the relationship with Impact.
Yeah.
Get some Impact footage or something. It would have been so nice to get some of that because that can really put it in perspective just for how big of an icon and legend that Sting really, really is.
And again, I don't know if there's any more, there's been another pay-per-view where someone come out dressed as... I literally thought Sting came out dressed as the old 1980s version. It was like his doppelganger. I was going, fuck me. And they Tony Storm
Man, his son's knocked that out the park, man.
I tell you something, when both of them got dressed up, and Jaxie Jean, and maybe you can help me on this, but one of them definitely looked better than the other. I'm not going to lie.
Definitely. I mean, you just said it before, but they Tony Stormed us, But I did think this was a cool callback. But yeah, I agree. One definitely looked better than.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the Wolfpack. I'm just saying, if it was my choice.
He had a nice Stinger splash, though.
I said, they even got involved early on with Stinger splashes. Sting then took a big suplex bump off the stage and threw a table on the ground below. This was literally, I was watching this and going, yeah, this is definitely Sting's last match. He's just going, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, throw me through this. I'll come off flat. Yeah, fuck that.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, set it on fire. I'll fucking do it. Darby took the same bump off the stage, but we didn't care as much because this was Sting's last match. Alan did take a sickening / stupid bump off a ladder and threw a pane of glass. His back lacerated a dozen spots. I mean, Gina, Jesus fucking Christ. We've seen a lot, but Darby just is like, he's trying to kill himself.
Oh my gosh, that was so painful to watch. That really was. I was like, I feel sorry for his mom, his grandmom, any family member that is watching this and just seeing him do it. If that was me, I'd be, screaming my hair off. So yeah, it was difficult to watch, but it also just shows you Darby is crazy. Darby seriously is crazy. He doesn't care for his own well-being. He really doesn't.
Really doesn't.
He needs a risk assessment for himself.
Well, someone that doesn't anymore is Sting. He endured a powerbomb off a ladder and through a table. He got straight back up and then thrown through a pane of glass, leaving no doubt, like we said, he was throwing caution to the wind. Ric Flair came in, and do you know what? Don't get me wrong, I'm a biggest fan of Ric Flair as anybody else on this podcast, but I would have really enjoyed him turning on Sting one last time. It didn't happen.
Yeah, he was supposed to turn on him.
Yeah, I know that.
I don't care what anybody says.
They should have done it.
I
Actually,
I really thought that was going to happen.
I thought that was the case.
Yeah,
especially for anyone that watched that Collision episode where Ric Flair turned up at the Young Bucks dressing room. I was very confused because I thought that there was going to be a turn here. So I'm not going to lie, I was a little disappointed here.
Well, Ric Flair covered Sting up, refusing to allow the Hills to further attack him. Of course, a moment of sacrifice for this guy who spent his entire career making living hell for Stinger. I mean, again, Ric Flair taking the super kick. There is something just not quite right about that. Flair and Steamboat both got super kicked, but Sting wouldn't stay down. We had a great callback to Ric Flair's retirement match as well. So that we love you as we hate you. But Stinger would not be outdone and managed to fight them both off. And yes, eventually get the victory and retire as tag team champions. There was a lot going on. But again, I mean, we didn't even mention Seek and Destroy, his theme at the start as well. 30 matches in AEW, undefeated. Monty, like you said, the presentation of Sting here was excellent. Well done, Tony Khan.
Yeah, man. This was awesome, and to I know we'll get into it, but it was to me and you at this point. We were tied up, so it was a duel. It felt like just a duel because I knew we had picked differently here, so I was like, "Let's go!" But this was fun, man. This is so fun. I had a really good time watching this match, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't know if anybody has ever had a better retirement situation. I really don't. I really don't think this is. I don't know if you could do it any better than this, man. It had callbacks to the past. It still had everything that we've come to know Sting to be in this AEW format. Yeah, he finished undefeated. I seen some people got the nerve to complain about that. He didn't put anybody over. I mean, it's Sting. He don't have to. Sting has put in more than enough work. He didn't have to put over anybody. And then what he's done for Darby, just in general, if you really think about what we think about Darby, what he's done for him, just being his partner this whole entire time, and then Darby being basically one of the only allies to never turn on Sting, that's cool enough in my opinion. So, this was really, really good, man. It was a lot of special moments. I love what the EVP Bucks were doing.
Yeah.
I think they were great opponents because they are like Teflon. So even if they look like idiots at time here, they're so good at what they do. You don't lose any respect for what the Bucks have going on because of what they've been doing and what we know of the Bucks. So I think they were great opponents to finish it off. Like you said, so many moments that you can't lose count of everything. This was just special.
You just need to watch it. Again, I can't do it justice.
Yeah.
With especially with a retirement match like this, and again, it was just excellent. And again, you know me, with AEW, I'm always very, I can critique, but again, there was not a foot wrong in this. I could say Darby's bump was a bit kind of overstated, but again, it meant Sting had that big fiery comeback towards the end, which was just so worth it. Gina, I'm going to get your thoughts on this match, and also what I want to know as well is kind of thoughts on Sting, because like I said, it's the end of the career, and a lot of us have got different thoughts, and again, it's weird that the AEW run, I think, has changed a lot of people's opinion on Sting as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm coming from, a fan. I became a fan of wrestling when I was a kid, but Sting kind of was long gone from the scene by that point. So I only had knowledge of Sting thanks to some of the wrestling that my dad used to watch, and he would talk about Sting. And one of the many reasons why I knew about him. But as I got older, obviously I looked back on some of his work, knew who he was, loved him. He just seemed so entertaining. And then, yeah, we get him in AEW, and it just seems so unreal that he's able to put his body through half of the shit he's done still, just shows how much of a legend he really is. So in this match, he was just awesome. And like you said, he really came into it like with the mentality of, fuck it, it's my last match, and I'm doing everything that I can possible, So I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a great match for him to go away. And like you guys said, he didn't really need to put the Bucks over. The Bucks are over already. Everyone loves and hates the Bucks. They will get their praise. They always do. So they didn't really need to be, put over by Sting here. Really, what their job in this match was just to help make Sting look absolutely amazing in his final match. And that's what they did.
Because I think the problem is, and especially, we talk about with Sting or never having the Undertaker match, and a lot of people talk about that. But I think Sting, with his line of thinking, proved everybody right. Because I think when he went to WWE, ego got in the way. And I know the injury with Seth, and we covered it on the podcast, fuck's sake, back in like 2016 when it happened. And it was kind of a horrible thing. But, losing at WrestleMania and all this kind of stuff, it's just ego did get in the way. And with AEW, it's kind of have this undefeated run. And Jackson, I don't know about you, but I think it's the best run of any wrestler in kind of AEW history. I think what they've done with Sting over these 3 years is, like you said, it is a legendary career capped off perfectly, because we can forget about the shit in the past and just be like, look, Sting, it ended right for him, and how many wrestlers can say that? And before it got too old, he decided to walk away at the right time. It's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is a showcase of one of those stories where, like, it does have a happy ending. This isn't one where he had to walk away due to injury. This was one that he could actually leave on his own tune, on his own time, and he was showcased super well. I have nothing really much more to add than kind of what you guys have all actually said regarding this match. So, again, for me, this is just one of those ones that you do want to watch, because this is one that you'll remember Sting by in terms of his final match. For me, I gave this a 5 as well. I just feel like if there was anyone that could actually leave on their own terms at the right age, looking in their best form, it was Sting, and it was this match right here. And he couldn't have gone against a better duo. The Young Bucks worked so well with him. The Darby moment, I don't really know what to say. I really hope that he has not done any sort of like long-term permanent damage. But overall, the match itself was just incredible and speaks for like Sting's legacy. So it was just enjoyable off of just that.
Without doubt. Monty, what did you score this? Because I don't know if I've written that down.
Yeah, man, no, just 5 out of 5. Like I was into it completely. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna come off really numb. I was not really worried about Darby whatsoever, and it's not because the spot wasn't death-defying or crazy. It's just because at this point, I'm almost expecting it. Like at some point, he's gonna do something that is gonna like okay, he's gonna do something that's gonna look like this is bad. Yes, I would care if he ended up hurt, but it's just like
is that the Jeff Hardy problem though? We expect him to do a bump, and then if he doesn't do something crazy, people are then disappointed by it. And
I do think exactly. And I think like I mentioned with Sammy at times. I mentioned this in the past on the show. These guys, you're not gonna have. I refuse to believe you're gonna have a long. Everybody ain't Jeff. Like, Jeff went a long time without getting hurt. He didn't have his first major injury until he was in his early 40s. That's not going to happen to everybody else. So I just don't think you should make your money that way. But, like, I went to when he took a rolling German suplex on the floor in a regular one-on-one match with Takeshita. Like, he didn't have to take that spot, but it's Darby Allin. So I know that every time he wrestles, Watch what happens when we get to big business. I think he has a match with Jay White.
He's gonna get thrown off a 20-foot fucking stage or something.
Right. He's probably gonna do something insane there too, and we're just gonna have to accept it. As much as I love Darby, it really didn't affect me. So when I saw people doing it, I'm like, okay, you must don't watch a lot of Darby matches. Do I agree that it's unnecessary? Yes. but most of the big spots that he taken, I never forget. He did a what do you call it, a casket drop when he's fighting Cody. The very first time I seen him, he took it right on the bare back on the apron, and I'm just like, he did not have to. You don't have to do it.
But again, is that a case?
What he does.
Like you said, we've seen Cody set himself on fire. We see Ospreay taking that bump. Is
Yeah.
there a way of, wrestlers might want to do it, but it should be someone going, look, guys, let's just tone it down a little.
We don't
bit,
have to do it every time. Yeah, exactly. Save it for the biggest moment. And that's the one thing I'll defend Darby on. This is Sting's last match. I understand going balls to the wall here, but with again, Darby, you have a track record.
This is what I'm saying, but Darby's come away from this and needs to build on this momentum now, and have that kind of factor of,
well, you know what he's about to do, right?
Yeah, back out Mount Everest. But again, Gina, would you give this a 5 as well? Would be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4 3/4 just to be different. Final scores then for predictions. And like you said, Monty, it was you and I on 9 points each. Final scores, Jaxie Gina on 7 after everybody. Well, I say Elle went Bucks apart from me. So Jaxie Gina on 7, Monty on 9. I finish on 10, which means for the prediction leagues, I do get my first win of the year. Get in there. Might be start of March, but come on. So I'm on 1. The rest
it was a shootout,
0.
James. We both shot each other in the head, but mine went through your hat, but yours got me in the head.
I know. I might have hit that pane of glass, but I bounced straight back up again. You know what I mean?
Right.
I hope it's not as close for the rest of the year, because watching it kind of takes away. You might like the experience, but I'm just like, don't pin him. Don't pin him. Yeah, come on, kick out Sting. Come on, Sting. That's just me. Anyway, overall, Jaxie, start us off here. First up, match of the night is quite a tough one because we've had quite a few matches. What match would you pick?
Yeah. So I'm actually, in terms of just level of excitement that I felt throughout all of it, I'm going to have to give it to Will Ospreay and Takeshita for a match of the night. MVP, I'm going to go with Sting, but I also kind of want to give a special shout out for match of the night and MVP to go to sort of like the Joe, Hangman, and Swerve match. I know that like there was like a mixture of opinions of that match, the placement and everything, but I watched it twice. Like, it was such a great match for me. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I felt like all 3 of these men just really worked well together. So I kind of just want to give that as a special shout out for all of them. But overall, match of the night is Will Ospreay, Takeshita, Sting. Yeah.
Monty, who's your MVP of the night and what's your match?
Yeah, MVP for me, Sting. Just again, tip of the cap. Great career. Great way to cap things off. I don't think you could do a retirement match better. Especially since I don't think Sting's coming back. I think Ric Flair kind of ruined his great one because he decided to come back.
Monty, can you imagine though, right? Again, this is what blew my mind, because they mentioned it on Raw about Sting's retirement. Imagine back in '94 on Vince McMahon on Raw mentioning, Ric Flair retired against Hulk Hogan last night. We wish him all the best. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But even the factor of a retirement match 30 years ago to now as well,
Yeah, man.
How many retirement matches?
Right, man. Like, I've never seen it done that well. Like, you just gotta give them props. So that's also my match of the night. Like, I know maybe Takeshita and Ospreay. I mentioned I'm spoiled, so I'll let everybody else do that one. But this one, I've never seen anything like this for someone as tenured as Sting to still bump like he bumped. And just the amount of fun I had. I just, from a technical standpoint, Ospreay and Takeshita was better. But just from having fun, even when Darby scared the hell out of everybody, I loved
it. Gina, MVP and match, please.
Yeah, I have to give Will Ospreay and Takeshita my match of the night. MVP, it's hard not to give it to Sting, so I'll give it to Sting, but I also want to give a special shout out to the triple threat match, because that was just such a great match.
Yeah, no, MVP for me, Sting, match, Ospreay and Takeshita as well. A 10, I'm going to give it a 9.25. I mean, we've got the same problems as every AEW show, if I can say it. And we all know what the problems are. It's too long, not enough women's matches. But again, this was the best show for me since Forbidden Door, and one of the best AEW shows probably of all time, especially with the happy ending. So 9.25 there. Gina, I'll start with you. What are you going to give it out of 10?
Do you know what? I'm going to go same as you, 9.25.
9.25. Monty?
Yeah, I think Revolution last year was, if not with Forbidden Door, was one of the best shows they put on. And I think this one, just for some reason, they really do a great job with Revolution. They start off the year on fire, and I think this one, yeah, and they usually kind of fall off the handle, right? Yeah, but we'll see. Maybe this year they can keep it going. So yeah, I have to give it 9. 9.25 is definitely probably the better outcome. I would say 9, but yeah, like just for Sting, I give it 9.25 definitely. So yeah, man, I got you. This is really really good stuff. That's what I'll go with, 9.25.
Yeah. 9.25 there. Jaxie, I'm always interested to find out what you've scored it. So what you score out of 10?
You know what? I have to agree with both my sister and Monty. A 9.25 feels very fitting, and I feel like it. I feel like it was the final 3 matches that really just kind of made this match card overall just really like an overall great presentation of what talent we've got, as well as some of the other matches in between. So, yeah, I think this one really hit hard. So 9.25 seems fitting.
What is your problem? Like literally,
What?
I agree with Monty
Why
and
are you
Gina.
coming at me?
I went to 9.25 as well, and yet you mentioned Monty and Gina and go, 9.25. Yeah, excellent idea. Don't mention my 9.25.
My bad. I did not actually realise you'd already given your shot. I clearly misheard that. My bad. I'm so sorry I hurt your feelings, you poor baby.
You know how it feels now? This is just like the time that she took somebody else to go cooking donuts with instead of me.
God, can we move on?
Yeah, you damn right. It is. I know.
I think we're done here, right?
Yeah, remind me
still got a little bit left.
No, I'm just playing. You didn't do nothing.
Anyway, media scrum afterwards. We see Samoa Joe. Will Ospreay flashed his bum. Tony Storm still wants Wendy Richter. Tony Kay said it's the greatest AEW pay-per-view of all time. And then we see Sting as well, who wasn't even scheduled to be there. And some great words from him as well. There was one guy that was just like, who would have been me, I will admit. And it's like, Sting, I just love you. Thank you very much. You know, again, sometimes it's still real to us, you know. And then finally, we got Dynamite March 6th. New logo, new music, new stage. I mean, what are our thoughts on this? Gina, what do you think of the new Dynamite setup? Do you think it's really cool and trendy?
Oh my God, no. I just think, why? Why are we getting a rebranding? Why are you changing things up? I don't understand. It's not that I dislike it, but I just don't think it was needed.
Yeah, no, again, I said it looked like RuPaul's stage, and a lot of people call it cock rings, and I didn't know I was going to be nicest about it, you know. Swerve still wants
NXT
the AEW
2.0. That's what I thought.
Don't bring it back to me.
That's all I thought. That's all I thought, though.
No, never happened.
It didn't happen. La 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 la. It's like something I said with Jaxie listening. It never happened. Swerve still wants the AEW title. The Kingdom were used as jobbers. It's good to know, isn't it, everybody?
Nice.
Yeah, they're building that momentum. Adam Copeland showed up to chase the TNT champion at the arena. He fled in a stolen SUV, and Copeland challenged Cage to an I Quit match in Dynamite in Toronto for the TNT title. We see the Young Bucks come out to make a special announcement and made sure to rant about losing to Sting and Darby Allin at Revolution. They revealed there will be a tournament to find new tag champions after the belts were vacated. They announced that Adam Page was suspended for attacking referees and fired Kenny Omega. Eddie Kingston came out and ended the fight with them. As they got the upper hand, Kazuchika Okada made his AEW debut. Looked like he was going to help the Mad King for hitting a Rainmaker clothesline. He officially joined the Elite and established himself as a heel. Jaxie, I'll get your thoughts first. Again, you've told me, but tell everybody else, you lost your fucking mind.
Okay. I lost my shit. I got in trouble with my partner because I screamed the place down. I was not expecting it. So I screamed the place down. My partner came in and gave me a really stern talking to. And he also just ruined and interrupted my moment with Okada. Did you see him in that suit? I lost my mind. This is so exciting. I know he turned heel, and I love Eddie, but I'm not ever going to boo Okada's decision to join the Elite. This just made everything so much more exciting. Bring it on. That means I'm seeing him weekly. I love it. James, I was all here for it.
Yeah, I mean, they're on Collision tomorrow, making an in-ring debut. And again, you know, as we spoke about
Poor
off air,
jobbers, by the way.
well, again, Monty, it must be weird for you because you've kind of got us into New Japan, but you didn't need to because they're all coming over here. Because not only like Okada, but Will Ospreay beating Cole Fletcher in the main event, Jay White giving a promo to Darby Allin as well, and then Bryan Danielson came out at the end of the show to shake hands with Ospreay. So it looks like we're getting that. I mean, my fuck, you know?
All my hard work to convert you to New Japan, and now New Japan's roster is basically AEW, and the New Japan's product is getting worse by the show almost, because they have to build stars from scratch because all of this is happening suddenly. This is insane. But yeah, man, honestly though, I have to say about this Okada segment, this was just by far the best way to do it that I honestly, and this is one of them. I'm not saying WWE wouldn't have figured out a way to make him debut greatly, because I don't know, maybe they could have, but this one, mostly because of the origins of who Okada is. A lot of people who know Okada just know him as the final boss and what he became in New Japan and how awesome he was just as their top guy. But when he debuted, he was basically a corporate like dick who would come beat up all of New Japan's favorites. Like, that's literally what he was. Like, everybody knew Gato was the shot caller. He debuted as Gato's muscle, and he destroyed Tanahashi, New Japan's favorite, and he became one of the most dominant champions for basically 14. Well, he wrestled there for 14 years, but basically the last 12 years of his career, he in New Japan he dominated. But the origins of that Chaos character before he kind of became the face of the company was a corporate guy who was there to beat up all of your favorites. And he come in and he attacks Eddie Kingston. And he signaled that he wants the global belt. And honestly, with Okada's track record, I'm sorry, Eddie, I love you as champion, but do you guys think Rainmaker's going to lose to Eddie Kingston?
The thing is, though, about that is
Okada's taking that belt. Daddy's taking that belt.
Okada's saying goodbye, but he's going to be on New Japan World every week if he keeps making title defenses of that title. So he's going to have to be with DC.
He'll be back at the
G1. He'll be like, oh, that's a bit awkward.
You know? He planned for that the whole time. He was like, I'm back already. Hi.
Got ya.
Yeah.
Really interesting times ahead. And finally, on Rampage, on International Women's Day, Julia Hart beat Robin Renegade in a squash. So that's all good.
Awesome.
But in all honesty, we have got AEW Big Business, which is next week, which is Wardlow losing to Samoa Joe. Who knows? But hopefully, like we said, the women's division might change with a certain debut. But that is it for now. Don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR JR, and you can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. Jaxie, where can people find you? Because a lot of people are interested as well about your what should I say? Non-podcast activities. That sounds a bit weird.
As in my streaming.
I hope so. I hope it was that. Otherwise, you're perverts, guys. You know what I mean?
Calm down, guys. Whoa.
Yeah. Jeez.
Easy, big fella.
It's been fun hanging with you guys. Thank you all for joining us for this review. You can find me on both Twitch and Instagram at Jaxie Scarlett. I'm currently streaming a series of horror games with my sister Purple. And yeah, we had a stream this evening. We managed to so far keep survivors alive. So come join the chat, say hi. But yeah, at Jaxie Scarlett. Thanks.
Perfect. Monty, where can people find and listen to you?
Yeah, you can type in Mind of Monty on YouTube, or you can go anywhere you listen to podcasts, listen to the latest episode of the Mind of Monty podcast. The Mind of Monty podcast will be a little bit delayed for this week because I'm catching up on the New Japan Cup. Because I am a couple days behind now. But yeah, check me out at my links, at Mind Monty Pod on Twitter, X, whatever. And yeah, catch up with me as we go through the New Japan Cup and as I try to give a rough accumulation of what I feel about what's been going on in one of the hottest angles in wrestling, and that is what Dwayne has been doing with these. Mostly, I'm going to talk about the 30 minutes of extra content that hasn't been on TV, which is what he's been doing on social media because he's been killing me. So yeah, check me out on my latest episode when it releases. Keep up with that on Twitter.
And Gina?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter or X and Twitch, or at Purple Pain with an E.
WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us an email at WNRpodcast@gmail.com. On YouTube, the podcast with all latest clips and podcasts at the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate and review there. So that is it. Our next episode is next weekend with New Japan catch-up. And, of course, it's Will and Okada's last match. And we'll also say as well, we will not be doing a mystery WrestleMania this year. But don't panic, anybody. You can go back into the vast library of the WNR podcast and listen to some of the old ones. And, of course, we'll have something special planned for WrestleMania weekend. But until then, I've been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Thank you very much for joining me, Jaxie. And we only called each other a cunt a couple of times.
Yeah, I know. I think we did exceedingly well. Thanks for having me, everyone. And until next time.
Yeah, no problems. And, of course, the mind of Monty and Monty, I beat you. I beat you. That's what I've done. Yeah.
I'm coming for your WrestleMania crown, man. So you better get ready. You better study up.
Oh, fucking hell. Well, I'm undefeated, so see what happens. But I tell you, someone who came close last year was Gina. And, of course, the genius of Gina joining us now. And I'm just waiting for you to spring into action. Do you know that? And I know. I'm worried. I'm worried about it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking to come out of hibernation soon. So, just watch the space as soon as I'm ready. That's it.
Yeah, you just wait, everybody. Yeah. Anyway, well, thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.